The March 20th meeting of the Carter County Commission is now in session. I respectfully request everyone in the courtroom to please turn off your phones, cell phones at this time. Also, commissioners, do not use your phone for texting. This is very distracting. Please remain focused on the issues. Commissioners, if you wish to speak at any given time during this meeting, please stand and wait to be recognized by the chair. Only one person will be recognized to speak at any given time. All discussion must pertain to the motion that is under consideration at that time. Going off on irrelevant topics is not in order. Thorough debate of the issues is always encouraged. However, personal attacks will not be tolerated. A professional decorum must be maintained at all times. During commissioner comments, motions to adjourn will not be acknowledged until the chair has recognized that all commissioners that wish to speak have done so. At this time, I'd ask Mr. Gary Smith, our EMA Director, to come forth and provide the emergency egress plan.
Good evening. Good evening. For those of you who may not have attended the County Commission meeting or been in the courthouse before, should an event arise that requires us to evacuate the facility, our primary evacuation route is to the south end of the building through the double doors and assemble in the parking lot behind the courthouse. Our alternate route would be on the north end of the building, the stairs across from the elevator, and again, we would assemble in the back parking lot. That allows the emergency vehicles to have the spaces up front. As a matter of record, there is an AED downstairs next to the elevator, should you need a rise for that. And a point of convenience, restrooms are located on the north end of the building, on the first and second floor, and they are handicapped accessible. Thanks, sir.
Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk, if you would please take the roll. We do have quorum present. Robert Carroll is not here. Mr. Carroll, please keep in your thoughts and prayers. He is recuperating from 2 knee replacements at the same time. So he is a tough gentleman. So please keep in your thoughts and your prayers. And as far as Mr. Simmerly, I don't know at this point in time. At this time, Chair will entertain a motion to accept the agenda. Mr. Lyons, is there a second? Second. By Mr. Grindstaff. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, proceed with a vote. Ms. Culler, if you would, please. Thank you. Motion passes. Next item. If you would please stand for the opening prayer, which will be led by Commissioner Willie Campbell. Please remain standing for the pledge, which will be led by Commissioner Charles Von Cannon.
Dear Heavenly Gracious Father God, Lord, as we bow our heads this evening, Lord, and approach your throne of grace, God, we want to thank you for this day, Lord, that you've given us, Lord. We want to thank you for your love, mercy, and grace, God, that you have upon each one of us, Lord, that you kept your angels around each one of us, God, and kept them close to us. Lord, we do pray for each one, Lord, who's on this commission board, Lord. We know there's a lot sick, God. We pray, Lord, that you have your anointing up on them. God, today we do thank you for our country that we have to live in, Lord, and the freedom that we have. But Lord, most of all, we thank you for the freedom that we have through your Son, Jesus Christ. Lord, we do pray, God, that you use this board and all county officials, Lord, to lead this county in the right direction, God. Lord, we can never give you enough praise and honor for the things that you've done in our lives and the prayers that you've answered. Lord, we know that your word says that we can look into the hills where comes our help and strength, and know that it only comes from you, Lord. that we can look unto the rock of our salvation, God, that we can stand upon that solid rock, which is you. Lord, tonight we pray, God, and ask these things in your favorite and holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you'll bear with us just 1 second, we've got a video, but while we're doing that, if the elected and appointed officials would please stand to be recognized. Thank you.
Animal Rescue was created in 2007. We were a small group of foster parents, saving dogs from euthanasia and networking to find them homes. We had a little thrift store, a tiny budget, but huge hearts, and an even bigger goal, to make Asheville a no-kill community. At the time, over half of the animals in our county shelter weren't making it out alive, and there were few programs to help folks with pets in need. But working together as a community, we have achieved some incredible milestones over the years. Opening our adoption center in Asheville, partnering with groups in the Northeast to move animals to waiting homes, welcoming thousands of foster families to take in more animals than ever before, opening a retail store and grooming salon for the public, with 2 thrift stores, and all proceeds going back to help the animals. Adding and growing a behavior department to help animals grow and learn. Starting our Outward Hounds hiking program, partnering shelter dogs with walkers to enjoy the beautiful mountains of western North Carolina. Beginning a critter camp to engage and educate young people. Recruiting folks from all walks of life to volunteer with the animals and at fundraising events. Starting a community cat TNR program to help outside kittens and cats. Launching new programs to meet the needs of struggling pet parents. Purchasing the land to create our sanctuary, a haven for animals so abused or neglected that they require extra time and resources to heal. And most recently, deploying teams to disaster areas to assist with search and rescue. Going forward, we're taking our no-kill mission to communities across the Southeast, opening 5 new chapters in the Carolinas and Virginia to spread the skills and programs we've learned over the years. We've taken in and treated thousands of animals with medical issues, from mange, ringworm, and broken bones, to heartworm disease, feline leukemia, and cancer. And for those animals whose conditions are not treatable, our amazing hospice parents give them loving homes and the best care possible until it's their time to pass. Thank you for being a part of our circle of compassion. Brother Wolf is a mostly volunteer-run organization, and we receive no government funding. But working together, we have saved thousands of lives over the years, and we look forward to the lives we'll save together in the years to come.
Brother Wolf has accomplished a great deal over the past decade. The organization has saved tens of thousands of animals that were destined to be euthanized by local shelters. This tremendous level of success is directly attributable to out-of-the-box thinking and implementation of viable, long-term solutions. We are extremely fortunate to have with us this evening founder and president, Ms. Denise Bitts, and executive director, Paul Berry. Help me welcome.
Hello. That video, I've seen it 100 times, and you want to see it, so sorry for the tears. My name is Denise Fitz, and I am the founder and president of Brother Wolf Animal Rescue. And 4 years ago, we started on a mission to help other communities build no-kill communities. And we've been consulting with organizations all over the Southeast, including North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, Virginia, and Louisiana. And we created an award called the Excellence in Leadership Award 4 years ago. And we've been really anxious to give this out to an organization, but we haven't found the right organization until now. So with that being said, I'd like to introduce my executive director, Paul Berry, to talk to you a little bit more about why we're here today and why we're providing this award.
Thanks. Can you hear me all right? Thank you for having us, commissioners and Mr. Mayor. What Denise was saying, we were trying to develop an award that showcased leadership, community leadership, civic leadership, who looked at the issue of so-called pet overpopulation not as a problem that needed to be maintained by killing numbers of healthy dogs and cats with more efficiency and less budget, but rather to revisit the entire problem and see if there's a way to solve it and save those lives of all those healthy dogs and cats. And we have met a lot of communities that have done really good work, but we have not yet met a level of leadership such as what you all have shown here over the past year and a half or so. What you've accomplished in the last year and a half or so is you've gone from roughly a plus 90% kill rate of dogs and cats at your shelter, including healthy dogs and cats, to in around a year's time, you've completely turned that around to roughly a 98% save rate of dogs and cats. And you've done this with making some courageous decisions to improve the budget, and that has helped improve medical services and improve your pay for your staff there, allowing you to hire a competent professional to run and manage the shelter. You have stood by the shelter while the shelter rebuilt its facility, making it more amenable to folks coming and visiting. It's a shelter that your citizens want to come and see. It's beautiful, and you guys have done a great job there. So we've never seen this kind of top-down leadership happen, especially in that short a time frame where you've gone from a 90% kill rate to a 98% save rate in such a short period of time. And we wanted to commend you all and present this award today. This is our first award to give out. We've been waiting to give this out for 4 years, and we've met communities all across the Southeast, as Denise said, and we've been looking for model leadership such as you all have shown here. So I'd like to read this really quickly and then pass it on to Mr. Mayor, and then I hope you guys will hang it proudly somewhere and be proud of what you guys have all done. I've been doing this work for around 20 years or so, and I've been in a lot of meetings like this over a couple of decades. And, you know, cynicism on this issue is easy. Leadership is hard. It's not one of those issues that everybody complains about, you know, with the school system or the fire department. It's one of those issues that's easier to kind of kick the can down the road. And you guys stepped up. All of you guys and ladies stepped up. And so we salute your leadership and appreciate what you've done. And we're going to promote you guys all across the Southeast as model civic leadership. The award says, Leadership Award on this day, March 20th, 2017, Brother Wolf Animal Rescue recognizes Carter County Mayor's Office, Elizabethton Carter County Animal Shelter, and the Carter County Commission for Excellence in Vision and Leadership on behalf of the animals in your community and the shelter workers who care for them. Congratulations. All right. Thank you.
Usually doesn't happen this way. We're always distributing them out ourselves. Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you. All right.
The next presentation, I'd like to read a press release pertaining to Roan Mountain State Park. The Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation recognized Roan Mountain State Park as the 2016 Park of the Year for its demonstrated excellence in innovation, sustainability, interpretation, resource management, and physical responsibility. All 56 Tennessee state parks strive and succeed in achieving our mission to preserve and protect unique examples of natural, cultural, and scenic areas, as stated by TDEC Deputy Commissioner of Parks and Conservation, Brock Hill. But Roan Mountain went above and beyond in 2016 thanks to the talent and skills of park staff and creative partnerships with local communities. In 2016, the park was designated an Appalachian Trail community by the Appalachian Trail Conservancy. Roan Mountain is only second community to receive this prestigious designation in the state, which highlights the park as a premier destination for hikers to access the Appalachian Trail. Over the course of the year, the park also strengthened its partnership with the local community through the Carter County Tourism Committee, Chamber of Commerce, and the Roan Mountain Citizens Club to enhance visitor experiences. Roan Mountain State Park is an iconic and enchanting park on Tennessee's eastern border that offers experiences like no other for our visitors, said Robin Peeler, East Tennessee Parks Area Manager. This recognition is not only a testament to the innovation ideas of park staff, but also the participation and energy the local community brings for this beautiful place. The park also expanded recycling operations, increased interpretive program offerings for youth, and constructed a bird of prey facility. Through grant funding from the Tennessee Historical Commission, the park successfully undertook the Miller Farmstead Preservation Project, which entailed repairs to structural deterioration on the 1907 house, which is a National Historic Site. Roan Mountain State Park staff have worked diligently to combat the tragic effects on trees caused by invasive pests, namely the hemlock woolly beetle. They have managed to slow the beetle's destruction through injection treatments to many of the park's remaining hemlock trees. The annual Park Awards of Excellence, which honor 5 parks annually, were created to recognize exceptional work within Tennessee State Parks. The 2016 award winners were recognized at the Tennessee State Park Annual Park Management Conference on January 17, 2017 at Montgomery Bell State Park. Parks are nominated by TDEC staff. Park area managers review the nominations and select finalists from each region, which are then voted on by the Tennessee State Park leadership. Great job. What else can you say? I mean, it's just a great job. So please join me in congratulating Roan Mountain State Park Park Manager J.R. Titch and his staff on a job well done. We appreciate all your hard work, your vision, your determination, your passion to make this park the park, State of Tennessee, 2016. Thank you, and you and your staff. And I'd like to present you with this small plaque for myself and Carter County Commission, honoring you and your staff. They're all listed there. So everyone's taking care of us. Thank you. Also, it took a team effort to make this happen.
It did.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, and thank you, Commissioners. If you haven't had a chance to come out to Roan Mountain State Park, we invite you to come out and do so. We have a lot of good things going on. One of the great things about our park is the staff. And this award, not just for our park, but really, I mean, it's the people. It's these folks right here that you don't see in uniform, you don't see on the front lines, but they're the people that are the driving force behind the park. That's what's the cabins and the campground and maintenance. There's a whole lot that goes into maintaining a park of our size and magnitude, and a million people that come through it every year. So thank you all. I'm going to name these folks off real quick right here for you. We got Ranger Kiefer Helly. We got Jackie Brown, Vicki Dyer, who Vicki Dyer is also our State Parks Administrator of the Year for the entire department of the Tennessee Department of Wildlife Conservation. And we have Roberta Brown and Sandy Blair. And these folks, they work in all operations here. And there's many more at the park that, like I said, the ones that you probably won't see, but they're the people that make our park look the way it looks and function the way it functions. And it's not our parks, it's your park. We are here for the people to provide a place of recreation, relaxation, and connect back to nature. That's what we're here for. More importantly, to preserve and protect the culture, the history, and everything that's great about Rome Mountain and Carter County. So thank you all very much.
One of Carter County's crown jewels, Rome Mountain State Park. Here you go, sir. County of Carter County, Tennessee, proclamation by the Carter County Mayor. Whereas the University of Tennessee is Tennessee's land-grant university and has a three-part mission of teaching, research, and extension. And whereas extension is the outreach arm of the university and an integral part of the land-grant mission, extending the knowledge and expertise of the university to the people of Tennessee through education delivered by agents, specialists, and volunteers in all 95 counties of the state. And whereas extension is a valuable resource for helping citizens to solve problems, providing real-life solutions in the places they live, work, and play through hundreds of programs. And whereas Extension's efforts are based on local needs, research, and a commitment to improve the quality of life. Whereas Extension's educational program in the 4-H youth development, agricultural and natural resources, family and consumer sciences, and community economic development produce substantial returns to the state. Whereas using research, questionnaires, observations, and sales records, an economic impact was estimated at more than $512 million from July 1, 2015 through June 30, 2016 for statewide educational programs. Whereas a recent assessment that indicates every $1 in public funds invested in extension programs returns an estimated $8.03 to the people of Tennessee. Just a tremendous return. Now therefore, I, Leon Humphrey, Mayor of Carter County, do proclaim March as UT Extension Month and encourage all citizens of Carter County to participate in Extension educational programs and to learn how Extension benefits them. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand on this 20th day of March 2017, signed, Leon Humphrey. Now, Ms. Vicki Clark, if you would please come forward. I think you all know Ms. Vicki. She's our director for that department over there. I'd like to present you with this proclamation.
Thank you. Thank you to all of you. I want to, on behalf of the Carter County UT Extension Office and UT Extension statewide, we appreciate your support. your recognition of the work we do in extension education programs in agriculture, family consumer science, and 4-H. And I hope you've all found a token of our appreciation on your desk, a big orange thank you for you too.
Have you up one more proclamation? Confederate History and Heritage Proclamation. Whereas April is the month in which the people of the Confederate States of America began and ended a 4-year heroic struggle for states' rights, individual freedom, local government control, and determined struggle for deeply held beliefs. And whereas Carter County supplied citizen soldiers and officers who fought for their beliefs in that great struggle. And whereas Carter County, Tennessee, has long recognized her Confederate history, the officers and enlisted men of the Confederate States Army and the Navy, and those at home who made sacrifices on behalf of their families, homes, communities, and country, and that it is just and right to do so. And whereas the noble spirit and inspiring leadership of these great officers, leaders, and the ordinary men and women, free and not free, of the Confederate States is an integral part of the history of all America. And whereas it is important for all citizens of Carter County to reflect upon our past and to respect the devotion of her Confederate leaders, soldiers, and citizens to the cause of Southern liberty. And whereas Carter County, Tennessee is proud to recognize and celebrate the devotion of her Confederate soldiers and all those from Carter County who fought and sacrificed in this great struggle that divided families, the nation, and our state. And whereas the knowledge of the role of the Confederate States of America in the history of our nation and our state is vital to understanding who we are and what we are. And whereas we honor our past and from it draw the courage, strength, and wisdom to reconcile ourselves and go forward into the future together as citizens of Carter County, citizens of Tennessee, and citizens of America. We are all Americans. Now therefore, I, Leon Humphrey, Mayor of Carter County, on this 20th day of March, do hereby recognize the month of April 2017 as Confederate History and Heritage Month in Carter County, Tennessee, and urge all citizens of the county to engage in a historical study of the events of the year 1861 to 1865, inclusive, and to solemnly contemplate said time in our history, and I call this observance to the attention of all our citizens. Duly signed. We are extremely fortunate tonight to have with us a number of the members and sons of Confederate veterans. To accept the framed proclamation, we have with us Commander Billy Joe Holly of the Vaughns Brigade. The Vaughns Brigade consists of 8 camps in Upper East Tennessee. He will be accompanied by County Historian Scott Bowers, who is also commander of Camp 2083, Robert J. Tipton, Elizabeth, and a couple of others. Gentlemen, if you would please come forward.
On behalf of Vaughns Brigade, the Tennessee Division, the SCV is all, and the Carter Camp, the Tipton Camp from Elizabeth and Carter County, we would like to thank you all for this proclamation, and it was an integral part of American history. Thank you.
And I think you have several people with you tonight. All of those that are a member of this organization, would you mind standing to be recognized?
I won't take hardly any of your time at all. That ought to make you happy. Anybody that has anything to do or has ever visited a Sons of Confederate Veteran meeting has heard the charge. In the charge, part of it states the defense of Confederate soldiers' good name, the guardianship of his history, the emulation of his good name. And emulate, we do. Our Confederate ancestors were God-loving men and women and families. We would not let our community go hungry. We would not let them go unsheltered, unclothed, or ignored. Members of the Sons of Confederate Veteran in Lawrence Brigade, the Elizabethan Camp, we do an annual food drive for the community 3 months of the year, starting from October on. We help donate clothes to the homeless veterans. And then once a year we do, particularly our camp, we adopt a veteran that is in a nursing home. For those that don't realize that, that is a forgotten population. And we refuse to let them be forgotten. It's not just about honoring our ancestors, it's about honoring our current community, our veterans. I mean, we have veterans in our community. Freddie, stand up, please, sir. We have a combat wounded veteran here as well. That's in our camp. And we take pride in this country. And, the memory and the reputation of the Confederate soldier over the years has seen an onslaught, an absolute outpouring of people that, a certain group that are trying to revision what they stood for, or the reasons why they did sacrifice, and why they suffered. They did sacrifice, and they suffered for many years after the war as well. The thing to remember is that, especially in this county, from the research that I did, we saw the community come right back together. So quick, work hand to hand, didn't matter. When that soldiers' monument out here was being built, you saw soldiers in gray and blue gathered together in peace and harmony, shaking hands and working together and going on to be elected officials and business owners and everything else. Because in the end, we're all American, and we just don't want to ever see the day when the shadow of revisionism stretches across this country and erases part of your history. Because that's always just the first step. What comes next? Will there be a day when, anybody in the War of 1812 or had anything to do with Andrew Jackson will be gone? Or the American flag? Or forbid the day when praising the Lord Jesus Christ's name will be looked down upon and ridiculed in public. Only then will this country be lost and not. We'll see that history happen. But not in this lifetime, not in this county, not in this state, and not in this great country. We thank you all. We really do appreciate your support. God bless you.
Public comments. If there's anyone in the audience that would like to address the commission, please stand to be recognized. You'll have 5 minutes to respond. Is there anyone that would like to? Yes, sir.
I'd like to address the commission.
If you would please come forth, state your name.
Here.
Yes.
All right, guys, I'm Matt Nerishon. We met a month ago, a bunch of you. Wanted to give you a little update from our end on what's going on with the Hampton River Landing project. school three-person performance reviews with this excellent presentation. We have the corrected survey, so hopefully we won't have another delay. I believe you want this, huh? I spent Saturday going by a bunch of businesses in Hampton. 100% all of them were thrilled when I was telling them about the project. I even got a hug from one lady. Wasn't expecting that at all, but they were thrilled. They were asking if they could come by when we had the work day, when we were going to have the work day. Very excited. There's a lot of people thrilled to hear about it. They're looking forward to Town Hall coming up. I gave them all the dates of that. We've had a little delay here over the survey. I'm hoping there's a way we can minimize the time delay over that. We're working hard toward this. I guess we're being a little pushy, but there's a reason we are being pushy. The University of Tennessee did a study of the Ocoee River and whitewater sports. And in that study, they found that the average out-of-town kayaker visit expense approximately $467 a weekend when they come somewhere in town. This last weekend, the water levels were beautiful on the Doe, and there was easily probably 30, 35 paddlers up there, or out-of-town paddlers, but we'll go with a 20 number because 2 is an easier one to do math with. So if we say 20 paddlers a weekend came here, that's a $10,000 a weekend. $10,000 per being brought to the community every weekend. 4 weekends in a month, that's $40,000. Over the whitewater season on the Doe River, you're looking at about 4 to 5 months. It adds up quick. It's a substantial amount of money. Our goal for this ramp is to, at least the first couple of years, double those numbers. The way we're hoping to get the word out is through word of mouth, internet forums, that kind of thing. To double those numbers, we have to have these people that come up here, go back home to Lexington, North Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina, and tell their friends that Carter County is actively trying to do something. They're not expecting Taj Mahal, but dragging a boat through the briars and standing in mud to load up is kind of pushing a little bit. So that's why we're pushing so hard. The whitewater season for the Doe River will probably start slowing down substantially in June. So we're trying to get as many people to see what we're doing. That's why we're kind of feeling under the gun for this. Otherwise, we waste a year. That's a chunk of change to throw away. Just because we couldn't work something, come up with a new way to do something faster. That's my main point on this. We're ready to go. We've got volunteers to do every part of the work. All the equipment's available, ready to go. We're chomping at the bit. And again, I want to thank you folks. You all deserve all the credit. People in Hampton are real thrilled with the work you've done here. And they're thrilled to see that Carter County's doing, moving forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Miller has asked to make a statement under public comments. Mr. Miller, you have 5 minutes.
Everybody knows there's Doc Miller here. We've come tonight on a very touching issue. A resource officer at our school, elementary. I've had all kinds of excuses the last 3 or 4 weeks, and there's still excuses. It's time to put away the excuse and get us a resource officer right there. Every school's got one. They say, well, we ain't got money. Our former sheriff had a resource officer up there. Our former education, Miss Ellis, had a resource officer at Little Moon. We're 18 miles out, 30 minutes away from the outside world. The power is off the other day, no communications at all with the outside world. We hope and pray that no kid will be gunned down in schools. But we don't know. If you're driving down the road and your gas hand shows almost empty, you're going to stop and be away. We need a resource officer at Little Milligan. I got a good illustration about things. It's good to have an illustration. You turn the TV on in the Middle East, you'll see the Palestinians throwing rocks, bricks, and sticks. Israel's army, they've got guns, bang, bang, bang. Do they expect our children at Little Milligan to throw paper wads and pencils at a gun? How many of us thought that every school had a resource officer? It's not fair. We feel that we're discriminated because we're a small school and not a lot of children up there. We really feel in our heart that we're discriminated from the rest of our county. Our children, our grandchildren, is just as important as any other parent's kids. We feel that we need a resource officer. And we talked to our attorney today. If we couldn't get a resource officer, put a gun in a teacher's hand that's qualified to carry a gun. He says we can't do that. But we ain't gonna throw paper wads at a gun. That don't happen. It happens. We've seen it in America. Kids are getting gunned down in our schools. Right here, we checked it out the other day. From the jailhouse to Valley Forge School is 3 miles. Less than 5 minutes. From Valley Forge to Hampton High is another 3 miles. Less than 10 minutes. And then we've got one at Hampton Elementary. But yet we can't, because we're small, we can't have one at Little Milligan. It's not right to not have us a resource officer. We have people here that won't stand up for the same reason. We're asking, and I had all kinds of excuses, made this and that and other, pointing the finger at this. We don't need to point no finger. We need a resource officer. Our former sheriff, he had a resource officer. I don't know what the problem is with this sheriff, but we still need our resource. He said the budget. I'm sure when the budget was approved, they had money for a resource officer. We ain't gonna lay dead and play dead because somebody, one person, has the right to say what's best for our kids. And it's not. Your grandbabies is just as important as anything. You'll give your life for them, wouldn't you? Best to take the resource officer from that young in school. Would you get mad? Would you raise Cain? Right. I feel that we need to have us a resource officer at Little Milligan School. Not put no excuses on this, that, or that. Work together and get us a resource officer.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Ma'am, if you would, come forth. Please state your name clearly for the clerk when you, you'll have to come around the gate through there. You'll have 5 minutes as well.
My name is Cheryl Reyes. I have 2 kids that go to Little Milligan, and I have a great nephew that goes to Little Milligan, and that is part of my heart. I really feel like we need a resource officer because, like we tried to say, we are so far away. And being that far away, there's no possible way to get to us if somebody was to come in within 30 minutes. And, you know, like he said, there's so many down here who are so close together that have them. If one is at Hampton Elementary and one is at Hampton High School, why not combine those 2? You know, let those go together, or Happy Valley and Happy Valley High School, the middle and the high school, both on the same campus. We are up there so far away from, you know, other other people, and if we can't get somebody to carry, like one of the teachers to carry, then we do need a resource officer. We've had a few issues, and, you know, not all of them have been documented, but my children deserve it. If you are somebody who is, my feelings on this is, if you are somebody who wants to do damage, where are you gonna go? Somewhere 5 minutes from the sheriff's department with a resource officer, or 30 minutes away from the sheriff's department without one? That's where you're gonna do the most damage, that's where you're gonna go. So I ask you to think about this as you make your decisions, whatever you have to do. But think about if it was your kids or your grandkids, what would you do? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there anyone else that would like to address the commission under public comment? Sheriff?
Since this seems to be directed for me, I think I need to respond. I don't want to do it, matter of fact, I've never done this. Mr. Miller did come and see me, and I did tell him, not what he stated up here, it's not a budget issue, it's my budget. SROs, as you all know, is done through a memorandum of understanding with the schools. We currently have 14 SROs that are allocated to the MOU. We have 15 schools. We currently are missing 3 SROs. One was involved in a car wreck, one quit, and then the one that we're missing. That gives me 3 schools without SROs. It's based upon conversations with the director of schools, and a lot of things that are into it. It has nothing to do with the fact that their kids are not as important as any other kids. Your kids aren't important. So our SROs that makes visits to your schools on a daily basis. As a matter of fact, there was a DUI, this doesn't know him, one of the parents, that would go, we buy an SRO. So they do visit when we're in the school. The principal did not really want one. So when you combine that with the fact that we're 3 short, that's an easy fix from a management standpoint. If the schools and the county commission wants 15 SROs plus a supervisor at 15 schools, it takes funding. And it is not in my current budget. Any questions?
I've got one, Sheriff.
Yes, sir.
I'm told by you or the Superintendent School 1 that we got a grant for the SRO.
I'm not talking grant. I get money paid me quarterly from the schools. Where they get their money, I don't know.
Mr. Ward, did we get money from that?
We have, this started out, I guess, some 8 or 10 years ago with 6 officers. And we used, I guess it was titled safety money. And that money is still part of the total balance that makes up for the 14 officers. So it's a yearly grant, but it comes to the State Department of Education. And then, if I'm not mistaken, the next round was the commission stepped in and provided $200,000+ for an additional 5 or 6 officers. And then from there, over the last year, or 3 years, the Sheriff's Department has been...
Last year, we funded one out of our existing budget. That's the best I could do.
Yeah, so as a total, in terms of dollars allocated, that's where the money comes from.
Now, number 2 question. If we get the grant money for 15 officers, and we don't want 14, what the other?
We're not getting grant money for 15 officers.
No, we got the first 6.
We get grant money for 6.
The 6 initial, that I guess it was early 2000, the 6 initial officers was purchased with the time and money, and it's a form, I guess, of a grant that comes in on a yearly basis. That's funding the first 6. And then some years back, the commission stepped up and funded an additional 6 more officers, $200,000+ in salary. The average salary for an officer, Mr. Lobster, runs
28,
28,
average, 27, plus benefits, which is going running about 35,000, plus a vehicle, plus equipment.
Mr. Lonzo.
Yes, sir.
In today's budget, in your budget, and the school budget, how much money do we get for resource officers?
I get none.
You get none. How much do we get, Mr. Ward? You
Well,
get up to 5, 6, or whatever, how many do
the
you get?
initial amount funded 6, and then what the commission allocated funded an additional 6, which was 12, and then over the last 3 or 4 years, this year, or last year, the sheriff's department has picked up what they could on the additional. And, of course, the conversation has occurred, and I guess looking for a grant for us, trying to find the extra funds for the extra officers, the 15 officers. There's 15 schools, we got 15 officers.
Currently, our MOU is to provide 14 SROs.
Now, the money,
One more question. Why don't you pull the resource officer from Hampton Elementary and send it to the middle?
Because then you're without Hampton Elementary, and Hampton Elementary wants one, the administration at Little Milligan don't want one.
Hampton, Little Middleton is as good as Hampton Elementary.
I'm sorry?
I said Hampton,
If you're in my shoes, you're trying to provide SROs in schools, and you don't have enough to fill all the schools, and you have a principal that does not really want one, that's an easy fix.
Sheriff, time's up. Gentlemen, thank you, Dr. Ward, for your input. Thank you, Mr. Miller. This is an issue that's more than we can handle in public comments, where we've went beyond the scope of public comments. So it's something that's all the commission is aware of. It's a very serious need. It needs to be addressed, but it'll have to be addressed at another forum. Mr. Miller.
One more question. When do we put a price tag on children's life in Carter County? You want to put a price tag, you start going out here in the community, you put a price tag on
Commissioner Miller, I understand your passion, your concern, all of you. It is a very serious issue. It needs to be addressed, but we can't do it under public comments. Mr. Little. 5 minutes, sir.
5 minutes, will be less than that tonight.
Thank you.
I want to thank Dr. Ward and the school board for working with us on getting this launch property. This will make a big difference. What Matt was saying, on that survey, 46% of the people who use that river are from out of town. 41% stay overnight. There's no reason we can't have that here. The quicker we get the launch up and running, the quicker we go around. But also, we got tubing season coming up. Milligan College, Appy State, ETSU, you better believe they'll be there. Now, part of our group, Ideas Group, we're a think tank. We think about things, how to improve something, how to make something better. Just throwing this out there until you figure out your 15th SRO. You've got 15 schools, 14 officers. What if you do a rotation every day? One of them leaves one of the schools. That only means that that school will not have an officer 1 day out of 3 weeks. And that way, Little Milligan will have an officer there 14 out of the 15 days. But if you rotate them, and you take them around, and do it on a unnatural schedule, so nobody knows when an officer's not there, okay? But that will give you a solution in the interim to work, and hopefully Dr. Ward can work with the administration in Little Milligan and let them see the need, because I'm sure those officers are trained in CPR, first aid, AED. It's not somebody coming in with a gun. You've got kids with food allergies. You know, they can give them a shot of epinephrine real quick. All schools have the EpiFens for peanut allergies. Dr. Acuff will tell you, people 30 seconds and a kid can die from peanut allergy. 30 seconds. You got to have somebody there who knows what to do and do it quickly. But, you know, we'd recommend a rotation. Simple fix. In the meantime, until you can work the hardcore out.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your brevity. Anyone else? Mr. Warren.
Good evening. I'd like to give an attaboy to our commissioners in District 1 there. And then I hear there's going to be another town hall over in the Hampton area, I believe, coming up. And I believe that y'all are doing good. But now we gotta figure out how to get the citizens off the couch, you know? Because years ago, we had this story about, well, it's not gonna do me no good to go down there, or they're not gonna listen to me anyway, and all that stuff. But I gotta give it to the commissioners and, the ones over at Hampton, they're fixing to have a town hall of sorts over there. And it's gonna work, I think, maybe in with this boat on steel or something. But let's see what we can do about getting the citizens off the couch and getting them down here and getting them involved and getting to where maybe they can kind of understand what we're all about as far as a governing body. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Warren. Anyone else? One last call. Seeing none, we'll move on with the agenda. Mr. Jenkins?
Mr. Chairman, before we move on, I'd like to make a motion. I know we're right in the middle of the budget cycle right now, but with this, I'd like to make a motion that we can send the issue with the SRO officers to budget. I know we're right in the middle of the cycle right now. See if we can work on this and see what we can get done as soon as we can.
Have a motion made by Mr. Jenkins to refer this matter pertaining to SROs back to Budget Committee. I have a second by Mr. Johnson. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, proceed with a vote. Reveal the vote. Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Jenkins.
Mr. Livingston had something to say.
Who? Mr. Livingston. Sorry, Mr. Roy, if you would come forth. Please state your name for the clerk.
Roy Livingston. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You know, there's a few of us citizens here that are watching the money here pretty close. And we've done a lot of surveying, a lot of researching and stuff, and there's money everywhere here. A lot of money that I know the majority of you commissioners have no idea about. And some of it's being used that don't appear to be in a fashion that would satisfy the taxpayers. And I tell you, I sat in a budget meeting the other night, and the question was asked by one of these commissioners, how much money do we have in debt service? Now, debt service, ladies and gentlemen, that's where you pay your bills out of. And they've got caught on this thing from the comptrollers, I think, 2 to 3 times in a row, that they don't have enough money in debt service to pay their bills. Now, if they don't know how much is in debt service, how do we know whether our bills are being paid or whether we got checks bouncing or what? So this is kind of a touchy situation here. And until we get these finances in shape, we know where all this money and stuff is, which there's a few of us know where the biggest part of it is. And I tell you, this finance needs to be somebody to get a hold of this and try in some way, because you taxpayers is what's paying this. There's enough money here to probably run 3 counties if you go out and account for it. And come tax time, there's going to be a shortfall, so we're going to ask some taxpayers to make up for it. And there's no call for it. They can probably take the tax rate of $1 if they manage this thing. But it don't appear that it's managed in the right way. The only budget we found looks like the mayor's got a pretty good managed budget. There's 2 ladies sitting back here. These offices got a good management problem. I mean, they know what they're doing. It's not really a problem with them, but some it is. And if you commissioners don't get your stuff together, and you come up here at tax time, go to scrolling, more than likely, these taxpayers are gonna find out where some of this money is, you're not gonna be happy. You sit here and you can watch them back here in this 3rd row tonight. they'll spend 2 hours talking about nothing, just be on the floor. And we'll be here 2 hours longer than should be. And you'll see one commissioner, he'll leave in a little while, he won't stay long. So, until you get this management thing fixed, this county and taxpayers is had it, because they're gonna take it under. Because I'm sure all of you out here knows, or pretty sure you're paying more taxes than you think you should. And you actually are, if you had somebody to manage this thing. And I don't know what the answer to it is, other than whoever's responsible for this management is solely responsible for all you taxpayers' money. And the budget committee, they don't seem like they know what they're doing. 3 or 4 of them does, and then the rest just looks around. They don't act like they're qualified. So you gotta have qualifications and people that understands multi-millions of dollars, not multi-quarters. But until we get this thing straight, this money problem comes, at tax time, all of them is one of a problem. Now, you can just listen to them when they're talking, the commissioners, the majority of them. You've got 4 or 5 that'll talk for the taxpayers. The rest of them just talk for themselves. They're lobbyists for some of these other groups and stuff. You never hear them mention nothing about the taxpayers. You guys just want to done the paying here, all the taxpayers. I'm telling you, if you don't start watching this, everybody's going to go under. Because you can't continue to do this and not count your money. You got to know how much you got before you know how much to spend. That don't seem to appear to be the problem. I mean, you know, it's a problem here because until you get this together, and it's going to have to start at the top. When you've got financial people that don't even know how much is in debt service, I think you've got a problem. Because that's where you pay.
Thank you, Mr. Livingston. Your time's up. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Ms. Robin McCamey? Only one person at the podium at a time, please. Ma'am, only one person at the podium at a time. Please have a seat. Thank you. Please have a seat. Ms. Robin, you got 5 minutes. Please state your name clearly for the clerk.
Robin McCamey, and I am back again to be the voice of the animals and tell
Officer, would you please take this disturbance out?
Okay, turn the timer off.
Listen, ma'am. Officer, if you would please, go ahead and remove that billboard from the
It's okay,
auditorium.
you have one in your packet.
Thank you. This is not a spectacle. We're not going to put up with this type of stuff going forward. If there's a statement to be made, please make your statement, pass out whatever information you wanted, and proceed on, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to say that Mr. Roy is correct. There are some finance issues, and we're going to hit on those today as well. But I want to start with the poster that just got asked to be carried out. If you'll look, I handed out a packet tonight that says facts about Brother Wolf. Okay? You heard one side of the story. Now I'm going to give you the other side of the story. Because like I've said in the past, there's 2 sides to every story. And I'm going to talk fast tonight. Lots to cover. It's attachment 1. That what you saw was the main fundraiser for Brother Wolf. It's a drag queen bingo and trivia. I'm not sure who did the research on this group, and yes, they've saved thousands of lives, but I think you kind of need to dig deeper and figure out what exactly is going on out there, okay? I'm not sure that people of Carter County are going to be all about drag queens, although I'd like to see a couple in heels that would be entertaining. So I want to ask, again, who's holding the mayor accountable for the decisions that are being made? Some other things that Brother Wolf are known for doing. First of all, they've been working for months, and we haven't seen anything yet. Nothing. I can't get any information as far as when it's going to start. They've not been considering and helping and talking and working with the director at the shelter. And you would think, considering that she's the person in charge of the animals, that knows the area and the animals that are here, that they would be working with her. How long we have to wait for details. The longer we wait, the more animals that are out here reproducing. We worked with Brother Wolf on a situation that I already had taken in under the Humane Society, and it was a man with 80 cats. Well, now they've come in slowly after pushing me out and telling me I wasn't welcome, and now 5 of those cats
are mamas today. So 5 litters out of 80 cats. Now we've gone way over 100, which we could have taken care of that. Brother Wolf can't cross state lines. They're out of Asheville, North Carolina. So there's some state line issues going on there. Who didn't check that out? Who didn't do their research and their homework? Okay? I hope you get a chance to look at all the attachments there. There's a website you can look at. There's an awesome video you might want to see of the drag race. It's very interesting. One of the things I want to point out too, at the bottom here of your handout, giving an award to the mayor and his secretary for things that should have been done years ago. I find that interesting. And what I find about that is that these people were only informed by the mayor. They didn't hear our side of the story about the fact that there's not spaying and neutering going on, and that how we're spending our money on vans that are supposed to be going to LMU. When I found out today, there was a trip that went to LMU. The van's not ready yet. So why did the cats go on to LMU today? And when I made a visit to the shelter today, the only cats that are there are very sick. I find that very interesting since we haven't lost any animals since Stacy left. So I think you might want to check it out, make a little trip down to the shelter and see how things are progressing down there. I think you might find it very interesting. Moving on, I'm going to skip through a little bit because you can read. I want to move to attachment 2, which is where we stepped in and decided it was time to do and make some action. We've set up our own rescue group. There's a bunch of us that care, that are already volunteering and fostering, and so we set up a group called Appalachian Tales. At the last animal shelter meeting and the Friends of the Shelter meeting, I found it interesting timing that the mayor on the board, who made our quorum for a vote, suddenly got a call, and it was an emergency, he had to leave. So when the vote came up, there wasn't a quorum. Now we all know that trick. That's an old dating trick. So I asked, who's looking out for the best interest of the animals? Because this group, this rescue group that we've started, was only there to help Shannon for the shelter when animals were being turned away. That's the main goal, is to make sure that no animal was ever turned away or abused. All right, I'm going to hit real quick on attachment 3, which is budget. Everybody has a budget, so you might want to quickly look at this with me. If you'll find it, it's, like I said, attachment 3, and it starts, the line items that I want to throw out at you really quick. Line 351, rentals went up by $2,000. Line 359, disposal services went up by $1,000. I'm not sure what we're disposing since we're not killing animals over there. 399.
Ma'am, I'm sorry, your time is up. Please have a seat.
25.
Please have a seat. Thank you. Have a seat, Ms. McCamey. Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to address the commission? If you would, please step forward, state your name. You have 5 minutes, just like all the other folks. No, ma'am, that does not work. I'm sorry. Robert's rules will not allow that, so thank you. Robert's rules of order do not allow. Thank you. Ms. McCamey, have a seat, please. Okay, if you would, state your name clearly for the clerk. You have 5 minutes.
Hello, my name is Samantha Morgan. I live in the Kingberg area in Carter County. I own 3 little pieces of property there. Robin has been compiling all of our information, and so the information that I was going to go over this evening, she actually has. And so since she's on a roll, I mean, I'd like to hand my time over to her, that way she can pick up, or I mean, she can just continue.
Ma'am, I'm sorry, that's not acceptable. Continue on.
That's not okay?
No, ma'am.
So the cost for the shelter, as Robin had said, the disposal services, if we could figure out what that is about, I mean, used to it was for disposing of dead animals, and so if we have a cost, we'd like to know. See, other contracted services, animal supplies and food has went up considerably. Custodial supplies, that is a huge increase from $3,500 approved in 2016-17 to the new budget request is $52,000 That is an increase of $48,500. That is a big increase. Medical and drug supplies from $5,000 to $56,000. That's a $51,000 increase. Uniforms, there's also the other supply. You have all of the, you have the budget. And so, and as far as the signs that I had earlier, you know, the point of that was to, I mean, that's the sign that's going to be representing our shelter. You know, Brother Wolf is representing our shelter. I don't see why we can't represent our shelter here. Same sign there, using the same advertisement. They can advertise on behalf of our shelter with that sign, but we can't bring it into the courtroom or into the commission meeting. If it's not allowed here, I don't quite understand that. You know, my big thing is that we need to be spay and neutering. You know, I was at the Friends meeting the last time when they talked about the 80-some cats at this fellow's house. And if I remember correctly, there was, I think, $2,500 approved to pay for getting these cats spayed and neutered when the Humane Society was actually going to do it. And apparently today, I've just heard, they have 5 more litters. And I mean, they were ready to go the next day at the Humane Society to start trapping these cats. They were already involved in helping this gentleman feed and take care of the cats so that they could, get them all taken care of. But, it's just, yeah, like I said, I wasn't, I figured Robin would take, this part, so I'm a little behind. I just ask you, we're all here to work together. Carter County is a small place. I'm proud to live in Carter County. We have a lot going for us. And if we can't be up and up on, things like our animal shelter, and, from somebody who's been there for 3 different directors, been a volunteer for many years, I see a lot of things that, maybe you guys haven't seen, being here. I know you care, but, being somebody who's been in and out of there since, I always say the old shelter, you could open the door and the wall would shake. And, there's things have improved. But, there's still a lot of improvement, and it seems like, the money just doesn't add up. And if the money doesn't add up and animals are leaving out of there that used to be, they would have left out of there a couple of years ago unless they were spayed and neutered. And now they're leaving and they're not spayed or neutered and having more puppies and kittens. That's my big thing. We need to spay and neuter. There's things that we could be doing that we're not doing and we should be doing. And, like the people from Brother Wolf said, they were giving the award to the mayor, because it starts at the top. Well, if we're working from the top down, we need to have a little bit more accountability of why these animals aren't getting spayed or neutered. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Seeing none, we're going to move on with the agenda.
Point of order, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to direct a question to the parliamentarian concerning what Robert rule governs public comments. I thought that was something that we as a body had decided upon as far as governing speech, which, as I recall, we have had public speakers yield their time and it was allowed during this commission meeting. So I just was wondering, get a clarification of that.
Well, I kind of anticipated you might ask me that question, so I've been sitting here looking because honestly, I've never reviewed a rule that has anything to do with that. I do know that we have public comments on the agenda. I do know that it's happened in the past, but ultimately the chair makes those decisions absent some appeal by the body. So I can't point you to a rule that says you can't yield one time or the other. I do know that there is no state law that requires public comments, but we have it on our agenda and we've always entertained that. So sorry if that's the best answer I can give you.
Next item on the agenda, acceptance of minutes from previous meeting. Each of you have a copy of the minutes in your packet. You've had an opportunity to review them. Chair will entertain a motion. Mr. Hill's made that motion to accept. Mr. Hill makes a motion, second by Mr. Trivett. Any discussion on the minutes? Mr. Von Cannon.
Page 66. In relation to the notaries, several names are misspelled. this is a permanent record, and I think that we ought to pay a little more attention to spelling than not. If you can't figure out which one of them are misspelled, let me know.
Any other additional comments? Motion is to accept, I imagine, Mr. Hill, with those corrections, spelling corrections?
Absolutely.
Mr. Trivett agrees with that amendment. Madam Clerk, proceed with the vote. Reveal the vote, please. Motion passes. Next item, notaries and bonds. Madam Clerk, please read the notaries and bonds.
Kimberly G. Garrett, George Papatonio, Richard Z. Gray, Myra K. Cable, Linda Shaw, Catherine H. May, Dustin Tester, Cynthia Karen Morgan, Christina D. Cruz, Amy C. Bryan, Jeremy F. Silver, Beverly Ann White, Terry Buckles, Herman King Senior, Barbara F. Fairfield, Ashley Woods, Noah Peters, and Christopher David Blair, and Ashley Hensley.
Motion to approve.
Second.
With the addition of those two names, Christopher Blair and Ashley Hensley. Have a motion made by Culler, second by Hill. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, proceed with the vote. Reveal the vote. Motion passes.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
we need a 10-minute break. Thank you, sir. That's what I was going.
Be back 7:30 sharp, please. Heat running in here?
7-7. This is
Please take your seats. We're back in session. Next item on the agenda is Hampton River Landing Park update by Mr. Ken Googe. Mr. Googe, we apologize for taking this long to get to your presentation. If you'll give us just 1 second, there's the device.
No apologies necessary.
Ken, there's the device to switch once we get you. There you go.
Very good. Thank you very much.
I think he turned his mic on. Not lit up anymore.
Ken, hit that button on the mic.
Here.
Yeah, there you go.
Now can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Great.
Very good. All right. Thank you all very much for your time this evening. Really appreciate the opportunity to give you an update on where we stand with the, what we're calling, just as a working title, the Hampton River Landing Park. We haven't decided on an actual name for this park yet. First of all, we want to make sure that all credit is given to ideas. I wish the Parks and Rec Board could take credit for this thing, but ideas came to us with this idea. We thought it was great. We signed on, and I've never seen anything move so quickly. It has just been great. Of course, and also the planning and highway departments, so far they've been just great to work with. We appreciate all their help to date, and we know we're going to be working with them very closely on the project in the future. So where do we stand at the moment? Well, the school board and the commission have approved the transfer of the land. The lawyers are working on it. Are you not a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much. The survey has been done. I think there was a snafu that has now been corrected. Okay. 2 weeks ago, we held a workshop to generate ideas and to try to identify the problems we were going to have to deal with. We've got volunteers absolutely chomping at the bit to go to work, as I think that tonight. We cannot wait to start on this thing. Now, the property, in case you're not familiar with it, we've got about 1.4 acres that is directly across 19E from Hampton High School. It's right on the riverbank, a little piece of land that's cut off and is unusable by the school board for anything, but it is absolutely perfect for the purpose that we have here. The workshop is what I'd like to tell you most about what we did. We had 5 different topics. First of all, opportunities. What can we do with this little piece of land? Well, the first thing is that the primary purpose is that it is a landing for whitewater sports. For kayakers, for canoers, for paddleboarders, tubers, people coming down through the gorge, this is a good place to get out. For people going on down to Elizabethton, this is the place to get in. It's being used informally right now, but it's a mess. So this is going to fix up a blighted area and open it up for access to the paddlers, also to fishermen, and may have some other uses as well. But there are obstacles. Most of this land is in the floodway of the Doe River, which means that we cannot put permanent structures on it. So that limits what can be done. We know that we have to get a bunch of permits to get this done, and a stormwater permit, and the planning department is going to be helping us with all this. We believe that communications with the commission and with the community of Hamilton and with the community of users are going to be critical to make it a success. We don't yet know who's going to design it. We don't yet know who is going to lead each of the phases of it. We don't know who is going to manage it yet. We do know that we're going to have to work around a pumping station that's on the land that belongs to the Hampton Utility District. Well, how are we going to pay for it? Well, the school board has really stepped up. They've donated to the county a piece of land that is worth tens of thousands of dollars and is absolutely perfect for the purpose. So if you know anybody on the school board, say thank you very much. We really appreciate it. The Parks and Rec Board is going to be able to put in a little bit of money, but mostly we are going to be depending on the services of volunteers. We're going to be depending on material discounts from suppliers. There may be some grants involved. And a really intriguing suggestion we got was to do a crowdfunding online, a GoFundMe type operation, let the people of Carter County and the broader community of Whitewater Panthers get involved in helping to finance this thing. And since there is a tourism aspect, we're going to ask the Chamber of Commerce that they might be able to help us a little bit with this. Well, how are we going to build it? The first thing we have to do is we have to clean up the area. It's a mess. I don't know if you've been up by there, can't tell very much about it, but it's a mess. Metin and I got up there on Saturday and bushwhacked our way across it, and there's a lot of cleanup to do. Before then, when we get that done, we can see what we have to do. We get our site plan ready, which is needed for the permits. That's in the works. The TWRA has agreed to help us with the design of the landing itself. They have a standard design that seems to work very well. We know we're going to need a parking lot, but are we going to need fencing? Are we going to need lighting? Are we going to need something else? In all honesty, we don't know yet. We do know that most of the work is going to be done by volunteers. We hope that we can get some help from the prison crews, Sheriff?
Yes,
Thank you.
I'll call today about that.
Appreciate that. And the highway department is going to be able to help us too with the parking lot. So who's going to operate it? In all honesty, we don't know yet. We do know it's best if we work with a 501c3 organization. The example that I use is the Roanoke Mountain Community Park, We work there with the Roanoke Mountain Recreation Foundation, which actually operates the park under contract with the Parks and Rec Board. We need a similar organization for this little park. We know that the Appalachian paddling enthusiasts, the River Eights, are going to be involved, and we welcome that because they're the users. They've really been on top of this. We think that a citizens group in Hampton might want to get involved. We know that the highway department and ideas and Hampton High School, Hampton High School has a great horticulture program. We think this might be a good outdoor laboratory for them. Keep Carter County Beautiful, the Carter County Crowd folks, we hope they'll help us keep it cleaned up, and other groups as well. Now from our workshop, we have some takeaways. We want to move quickly, as Metin said tonight. We can't wait to get to work on this. We can't wait because there are so many people who want to use it. And when the word gets around, it is going to be a very, very valuable thing for this county. But we have to make sure we do it right. This is our first project along these lines. And there are going to be a number of permits that we have to get. We're going to have to work carefully with the planning department to make sure that we don't make any costly mistakes. We know it's best that if we work in phases. Phase 0 is the cleanup. Before we do anything else, we have to get this place cleaned up. Phase 1 is the parking lot and the landing. Phase 2 and beyond, we don't know. The Parks and Rec Board is not going to make the decision about phases 2 and beyond. That is going to be made by the community. It's going to be made by the community of Hampton. It's going to be made by the community of users of the park. So what they want to do, what they are willing to help with, what they are willing to help pay for, that's what we want this park to be. So, in order to get that done, we need a community meeting. And also, we need to determine the management organization as soon as we possibly can. So I came here tonight to give you an update, but I also came here to ask you for your help. Now, the first thing, to organize a community meeting, well, that's already been taken care of. The Hampton area commissioners were planning to hold a meeting anyway, and they have very graciously allowed us to use part of that meeting on Randall, March 30th. Is that right? Or March 30th. We're going to explain to the people of Hampton what we were hoping to do and get their input and make sure that they understand what we're doing. We're trying to avoid the rumors. We're trying to avoid misinformation. We certainly don't want to hurt feelings as we create this little park. The other thing I need to ask you for is permission to proceed with the cleanup. That's phase 0. Permission to proceed with the cleanup just as soon as we have clear title to the land or as soon as we can get permission from the school board. Now, clearly, we have more questions than answers right now. But if you have any questions for me, I'll do my best to answer them. If I don't have an answer, I'll do my best to get it.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to put that form of motion that we, as soon as everything's file is clear, that we can begin with phase 0 as cleanup and proceed on.
I have a motion made by Mr. Jenkins, second by Ms. Brown. We'll open it up for discussion at this time. First, though, I'd like to hear from County Attorney as to, I guess, documentation that would have to be in place from I think you're working on that part of it. And can you give us an update as to time frame?
Well, obviously, right now, legal title is still vested in the school board, and they delayed taking action at their last meeting until they could see a survey, which they've already voted to donate it, so I wasn't sure of why that was needed. But anyway, I do have the survey. I'll be working on preparing the actual deed that will be executed, conveying it to the county. As far as volunteer labor from general citizens out there, I have been asked, and I will do a release, just a simple generic liability release for the county for anybody who wants to go out there and work, because we're unsure obviously of the conditions and what kind of materials might be out there at this point. But as for now, I mean, our permission is all well and good, but the legal title is still with the school board, so I think you've suggested that you would get their permission before you go out there and actually start doing any cleanup until that title transfer. But from my standpoint, I mean, I can have the deed prepared and those releases done, you know, probably this week. But I don't know when the school board meets again and when they'll take their next action.
April 20th.
Excuse me?
April 20th, the next one.
Okay, that would be the absolute earliest before you can get the documentation back to school board. Dr. Ward, any comment?
I think in our board meeting, most recently, Mr. Banks said that he would be working with Mr. Harden as soon as you got the survey back. I think you got the survey back.
Gotcha.
So I think the two of you should go ahead and
Certainly.
get the paperwork done. Go from there.
Okay, so it looks to be really straightforward. We have the motion, Mr. Hill.
Yeah, it's more of a recommendation than a question. I would just like to point out, I think I pointed this out at the brainstorming session a week or so ago, that the ideal model in many of the challenges that you're facing with this parcel were faced in my district at the community park. And London and Zoning Director Schutler put that whole 27-acre piece together over there. He's already been there, done that for most of what you're doing, so.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. We have a motion on the floor, and I'd like to address that after the motion is taken care of, if I could.
Well, I think we just go ahead and discuss it now. We're in discussion mode.
Mr. Hill, I couldn't agree more. We are going to be depending on the planning department to guide us through this thing. They have done something similar in the past, this board has not. And we will not be able to do a good job of this unless we have their help and guidance, and everything says that's exactly what we're going to have.
Any more discussion on this before we ask the clerk?
Just want to make sure that we cannot begin work, any cleanup work, even if they sign the waivers, until April the 20th, after April 20th. Am I right?
Well, as of now, legal title is vested in the school board, as I said. Now, certainly if they give permission to go on the land and do work, that's their prerogative right now. But my understanding is until they meet again and officially vote after Mr. Banks reviews the survey, then they're not going to be ready to execute the deed conveying property. But we'll have it ready in hand that day for them. And assuming they vote in the affirmative, that, you know, that day, title can transfer. But until then, they legally own the property.
And really, for all practical purposes, I know the Ideals Group, they've worked diligently on this, Parks and Recs worked diligently. It's somewhat disappointing to them that they hit that little bump in the road. But even with that, you're still moving at a very, very respectable pace when it comes to this type of issue. Okay, Mr.
I've seen the property up there. What exactly would the cleanup entail? Is there some major trash? I mean,
It's a jungle. It's a jungle. There's a lot of underbrush that has to be removed. There is dead wood that needs to be removed, maybe some trees. We know that there is some trash on the property that's been dumped there over the years. All that we need to get out of the way. We can't do any construction. We know we can't do any construction until we have our permits in hand. But we can do the cleanup and get that, so we see what we have to deal with. We can do the site plan, and then go to the state agencies.
Any other discussion? Mr. Meehan.
I noticed all the Tennessee government agencies that needed to be tapped into. Is there any connection with the federal EPA, the river, and the things that may be done around it?
I am told that there's a permit that we have to get from TVA, but I believe the rest of it is actually handled at the state level. I could be wrong about that.
Because that might be something somebody needs to look into.
Yes, sir, and that's exactly what we're going to be depending on the planning department for. As I said, we're going to have to work very closely with them to make sure we don't make any costly mistakes.
Okay, any more discussions? Madam Clerk, proceed with the vote, authorizing the group to start cleanup once legal title is secured and the other release forms are in place. Reveal the vote. Motion passes successfully. Okay.
Thank you. There's one other thing I'd like to mention, if I may.
You go right ahead, sir.
All right, I'm very pleased to tell you that last Thursday, the Parks and Rec Board received a $10,000 grant from the State Department of Health, which is going to be used to enhance the playground facilities at Roan Mountain Community Park. That's right, Mike. Feel exactly the same way.
Well, along those lines, let's give credit where credit's due. Caroline Hurt contacted me several weeks ago, made us aware of that particular opportunity. Mr. Ken Scooge and the Parks and Rec group worked tirelessly to put this together in record time again, just a few days to submit the application, and it was approved. So thank you, Mr. Googe, very thorough in your approach and the like, and for the successful completion of that application. So let's give him a hand.
We have $10,000 in hand. We have pledges for a couple thousand more, but we're going to have to do some more fundraising. So if anybody here would like to help us with that, we would greatly appreciate that help. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda, Carter County Communication Board appointment, Title VII, Consolidated Governments and Local Government Functions and Entities, Special Districts, Chapter 86, Emergency Communications, Part 1, Emergency Communication District Law. 7-86-105 talks about creation, a board of directors, membership terms, appointments, or of replacements. B1, except as otherwise provided by law, an emergency communication district shall have a board of directors composed of no fewer than 7 nor more than 9 members to govern the affairs of the district. For districts created by a county legislative body, the county mayor shall appoint the members of the board of directors subject to confirmation by the county legislative body. You do have 2 pieces of correspondence. One was provided in your packet, the other one was an oversight. It was put on your table today. The first one was an email from Mr. Dale Blevins, who is director of the Carter County Emergency Communications 911 District. In that email, he advised that former Police Chief Greg Workman resigned his position from the 911 Board of Directors. Their board accepted the resignation and also voted to recommend current Police Chief Jason Shaw to that opening. The other piece of correspondence you have is directly from Mr. Shaw. Therein, it makes clear that Elizabethton Police Department, he served for 18 years, and he'd been a volunteer firefighter at Stony Creek for 23 years. You know, he's proven himself in the community. And now the city of Elizabethton likewise have placed confidence in him. I know Chief Shaw. I've worked with him on a number of things throughout the years. There's no one out there that's any more professional in his approach. So I'm confident that Chief Shaw would serve with distinction and in such a way that we'd all be proud of him. Thus, I'm appointing him to fill the vacancy, and with that, the chair will entertain a motion to confirm Mr. Shaw's appointment. Mr. Trivett?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we consider his appointment.
Okay, second by Mr. Von Cannon. We have a motion made and seconded to confirm Mr. Shaw's appointment to the 911 board. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
on these appointees, do you have any outside people like, maybe up on Brown, maybe on Brown Civil Market, or anybody other than the chief of police or the sheriff department, anybody like that on that board?
Well, there's very varied representation on that board. It's a 9-member board, and normally the chief of police for the city of Elizabethton has a seat on that board. So just by his position in government, I think it's proper that he take and fill that seat. But there are other appointments on there that we've done through the years, former officials and the like. So it's not closed just to this gentleman, but in this position, it's kind of restricted, you know, from my standpoint, to go solely with the chief of police.
Sir.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, proceed with a vote. Reveal the vote. 21 ayes. Motion passes. I'll notify the board and Mr. Blevins. If you will allow, I have just a few points, very few points of breaking news that I'd like to give you before we proceed with committee reports and recommendations. First, today we made the first delivery per our contract to LMU for spay and neuter services. We will be picking those animals up at the end of the week. That will, as you've heard many times before, will result in substantial savings to the county going forward. And it will ensure that our animals are spayed and neutered before adopted, the majority of them, age appropriate. We also have established a working relationship with the Kentucky Humane Society. It is a no-kill rescue organization. We will be making our first delivery on the 25th to this organization. As with any interview, as with any new organization or partnership, there can be questions. But proof's in the pudding. So we are looking forward to this relationship with Kentucky. It has an excellent reputation. We've vetted it to no end. Of course, we'll be visiting them firsthand, and we will be making that first delivery. We are also working diligently to establish new relations with other similar organizations. You know, this is a very important issue for us. It's been a serious compliance issue and matter that we've talked about for quite some time, which is still under investigation. And we are working with Ms. Basada and the staff at the shelter, doing everything possible to make this the best shelter in the area with the limited funding that we have available at this time. And Brother Wolf, as you heard tonight when they made their presentation, that's an organization that's well known on a national scale, and over 10 years they've proven themselves. You know, they have saved tens of thousands of lives, and they've done it in a responsible fashion, working the volunteers in the community. And you know, we need to do everything possible to support that organization as it comes into this community, because I think we can have the same results here, equal, if not more so, than what we've seen in Asheville and the surrounding area. They've done an excellent job. And I don't care who you talk to, you will hear positive things for Brother Wolf. Also, one last thing. You were given a handout. We have just established another partnership with a grant writing firm, Grant Writing USA. When I first came on board, I asked the commission at that time to fund a full-time person for grant writing. You know, it's a no-brainer, folks. It's a no-brainer. Significant return on investment. We have missed opportunity after opportunity after opportunity through the 6.5 years that I've been here. But recently, even with the limited staff that we have here, we have started taking advantage of as many opportunities as we can, and it's brought extremely positive results. Whether it's a $10,000 grant to help with Roan Mountain Community Park, whether it's the marketing promotion grant that we just got, the tune of about $100,000 to produce the Carter County message so that we can get it out to the world. We've met with that group a week ago, basically, We had a team of 5 individuals that flew in from Nashville. We had 3 people that came from Knoxville, had a very productive day, very encouraging. And those folks likewise have toured many communities. But at the end of the day, they were extremely encouraged about Carter County and all of our assets. We've got things that some of our neighboring communities would just die for. So I'm looking forward to this video. It'll probably take until September, October to get everything completed. We visited 3 of our manufacturing firms. We visited with one of our Institute of Higher Learning. It's just going to be a win for the county. You know, I am fed up with Carter County being America's best kept secret when we can be so much more. So, you know, it's extremely positive. Good things are happening. This grant training partnership with Grant Writing USA is another big deal for us. It'll give us an opportunity to obtain some seats of our own that we can help some of our agencies depending on the amount of people that sign up for this, and at no cost. So we're finding ways to do more with less. We're going above, over, and around all of the obstructions. And I would appreciate your support. We need your help. We need to be working together on that. So great things happening in Carter County. I couldn't be any more pleased. Now, with that.
Question?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, the 3 or so items you discussed on the animal shelter, did they all pass through, or did they go through the animal advisory board?
All of these items have been addressed in the Animal Shelter Advisory Board, with the exception of the Kentucky Humane Society. And, sir, just to direct you back to the bylaws of that organization, the mayor is ultimately responsible, working with the director for the day-to-day operation of that. And the director has been involved in all of these matters. Actually, she made a trip with us to LMU initially. And, sir, time is of the essence. Time is of the essence.
Do we get minutes and discussion items that come out of that board?
You're welcome to have copies of that. They're available. Okay? Committee reports. Agricultural Committee. Mr. Garland.
I always want to sing the praises of the Extension Office, and thank you for recognizing them with their proclamation. Vicki and all staff over there do a great job. So thanks again. We did conduct interviews, I think, 2 Fridays ago on the 4-H, or not the 4-H, but the Extension agent. So that went successful. I think they've got 1 applicant in mind. That will go through the University of Tennessee, County High School, and that group right there to make their recommendation to us. Had a pretty good meeting this past Thursday at the Smokehouse on Milligan Highway with the Extension Advisory Council, and just made some recommendations and suggestions on some programs that they'd like to focus on at the Extension Office. At that meeting, I mentioned the 4-H girls doing a great job. I think I failed to mention April with PennSet and the job she's doing. So if you will, when she mentioned her, if that, they hurt her feelings that they're not, but they're all doing a tremendous job. And they are, she's been involved in the farmer's market. I think that's slated to open the first Tuesday in May, downtown Elizabeth, and so that's something to look forward to. And then I've attached, I tried to get some applications in everybody's box for the farmman application. I think Mr. Regan will address that here shortly. But if anybody did not receive that, let me know. I do have some copies. And I'd like to see a meeting. I think April 6th might be a good date, which is a few weeks from now. Maybe get some advertisement on that for the committee. I've got some if you'd like those. But April 6th, I'd like to see maybe that date if I can get it to the clerk's office. Sure. At committee meeting. That's all I have.
It was an excellent meeting the other night, Mr.
Yeah, I mean,
okay, I appreciate that.
Mr. Von Cannon was there, Keith Harps, and other committees.
lot of support and volunteers within the community, and thank you again for the job that you and the Extension Service is doing for our community. It's all positive. Thank you. Next item, budget. Ms. Culler?
You received your minutes tonight and also to pick out your budget packet. You have a list of donations. I'll make a motion to accept the donations totaling $100,137 for the animal shelter.
Motion made by, second by Mr. McQueen. Any discussion pertaining to the $100,137 in donations? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, proceed with the vote. Reveal the vote. Motion passes. Next item, please.
Next item is General Fund 101, amendment number 7, total of $23,449.74. There are 5 items, $4,700 coming from the fund balance, and I'll put that for the motion.
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Trivett. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, proceed with the vote. Motion passes. Next item.
I'll put in form of a motion to approve the general purpose school fund, 141, amendment number 7, for a total of $191,161 with 2 items, and $169,561 coming from the general purpose school fund balance.
Is there a second by Ms. Dietz? Any discussion? Proceed with the vote. Mr. Garland? Okay, motion passes. Next item.
Next item has to do with funding for an animal control officer. This item was brought to us by the sheriff and also by the animal shelter director. This is to, and the committee approves, so I'll put in form of a motion to approve up to and not to exceed $3,500, $35,000 from the fund balance for animal shelter control salaries and a new animal control vehicle.
I'll second that.
Mr. Trivett seconds. Discussion?
I got one.
Okay, Mr. Lewis?
Ms. Coles, I have to apologize, I wasn't thought of it.
That's all right.
What is this money for now, animal control officer?
Yes, it's for
Yes.
an animal control officer and also for a vehicle for that officer.
I thought we had an animal control officer now. This is an extra one?
This is one that has some authority, I believe. I'll let the sheriff address that if he would.
Baby, my idea on what's going on.
Yes, sir, several commissioners, as well as citizens over the past, 30 years, I guess, have been out the law in the county. From the sheriff's office. The problem is always how to fund it. In order to fund it 24/7, you're going to have to hire 5 officers, equip them with 5 vehicles. Myself and the staff sit down and have a conversation about this, about a way that we can fund this reasonably. So we sort of adopted which is now the night cars, in addition to Fisher Concepts. I have 5 shifts. We're going to designate and train 1 jail route for each shift for the sworn officer and train him. They're off 1 week each month. They rotate. During the week that he's off, he will be the animal control officer on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week during that 7-day period. They'll rotate it. So what this will do, this will give us an animal control officer in this county 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for somewhere in the neighborhood of $39,000 a year. This will get us through this fiscal year. Salaries and everything is $9,000, step benefits $9,975. Then the vehicle is $22,826. So, no may be available, you know, to purchase the vehicle. Now, that vehicle will be there probably 5 to 7 years. And again, it's the best way that I can come up with is about 24/7 coverage at an extremely slow rate.
With that, I think for the commission's benefit, they weren't in that meeting, we need to hear from Animal Shelter Director, Ms. Posada. Ms. Posada, would you please come up and explain to the commission what you've encountered in your role as director and responding to these calls and why the need?
Hey, I got one more question.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I live in a highly populated area. A lot of dogs, a lot of cats. You can see them daily running across the highway you come. Now, what incentive I have, if I want to go for all this money, after midnight, after 11 o'clock, that this animal control officer will be out here catching these dogs dead.
He's not gonna be out here riding around 24 hours a day.
He will be out in the morning, just in the morning.
No, he'll not be out anytime. He will be available on an on-call basis. There's about 1,200 calls last year came into 911 center for animal issues. That's time up my officers, who can't do anything anyway. We can't put animals in patrol cars that we put people in. We can't do that. And then we can't take them to the jail without that animal control shelter. So what this will do, when you get an animal control call, 911 will dispatch that call, just as they do today. An officer will respond. If he confirms the need for an animal control officer, an animal control officer will have a vehicle at home, and he will be called out on an as-needed basis and respond and take care of that animal control, whether it's 3 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, no matter.
Now, it would be his discretion only if he comes up, if I call him and say, hey, I got a bad dog, I need some help. And he gets all this information at 3 o'clock in the morning, it'd be up to him when he comes out of the box.
It will be up to the officer on the scene as to whether or not it's called. And all calls and all enforcement action is discretionary. It's not mandatory that you take any type of enforcement action on any call.
Okay, thanks,
It's all
sir.
discretionary.
Okay, with it, Mr. Lyons, do you have something you'd like to say?
If I could, please.
Yes.
I don't know if this will help you or not, Commissioner Lewis, but I think it will. In my previous work, when we had child protective service workers that were doing the investigations, Mr. Johnson helped me with this years ago, we ran into situations at 3 o'clock in the morning where we had to have a law enforcement officer with us, someone toting a gun with us. And I think you may be getting to that, I'm not sure.
We hope
I
to.
think that's a good example of what you may present to us, that when you run into those situations like a meth lab or you know, a crackhead or whatever you want to call it, and you feel like your staff is at risk, then that's when you need to call on someone to help you. Is that correct?
Ms. Shannon, if you would, please give her your undivided attention. Give her just a few minutes.
Can I make one point?
Yes, sir.
If you do this, she will not be responding, which is good. She doesn't need to be responding to these issues. If we have an animal control officer, she and her staff will no longer be responding to these animal control issues. That's what the animal control officer is for.
Keep in mind, we hired Ms. Posada to manage and direct the daily activities of the shelter itself. Unfortunately, with the limited staff that we have, Ms. Posada has become somewhat of an animal control officer herself, just due to the volume, and I'll let you hear it from her direct, okay?
Since February 9th, I have started taking the 911 calls for Carter County. I have, and my staff and I have gone out to several different locations. We have taken them from 911 calls, we've taken them from the calls that come into the shelter. These calls send us into homes that is drug related, and some of them at all times of the day and all times of the month. We have went into animals that have been thrown into the side of the trailer with broken limbs that we have sent the animal control officer on to the hospital with, but we stayed there with an officer to see if we could get him to admit to doing it so charges could be placed. We've been into places that we've had to have hazmat crews in to get the animals out. Several times we have called them out for an officer to assist us on different locations in different situations. This is not safe for neither I nor my staff. When you send two women out, as when you and I go out, when Freddie's on vacation, it's just not safe. And a lot of times we get anything from a hello to literally a blessing out. So it's just not safe out there for us. And there needs to be someone, we believe, with some authority, that when they see a uniformed officer, instead of us coming from the shelter, it's going to be a whole lot better. Probably less calling out on your officers as well.
Commissioner Acuff.
Director Posada, do you have a quarantined area that these animals, once the animal control officer picks them up, obviously they can't be mixed in with your regular population because you guys haven't had a look at them. Do you have space in the quarantine area for them?
We do not have a specific location for this animal control officer to bring these animals in at this time. We don't have a designated location that we can separate them from.
The thing about that is we'll make temporary provisions. We have to segregate the animals on intake. We'll do the same thing that we did with the cats. We'll make do with what we have at this time until we can do better.
You currently have 2 vehicles, do you not? 2 trucks?
We do.
What's going to happen to those vehicles? And the reason I ask that question, I understand that this goes to the end of this budget year for the sheriff to provide these services and to purchase a $23,000 vehicle. What if next year the sheriff decides he doesn't want to do that anymore, and you guys have to get back into the animal control business? What vehicles are you going to use? Who's going to do that? Would that fall to you? What about Mr. Freddie here? I mean, I assume he's not ready to retire yet. But just some questions, and again, I owe the chairwoman for budget an apology. I had to travel on Monday to D.C., so I wasn't there to ask these questions. But I'll let you know.
I think the sheriff can answer some of those questions. Sheriff, you're the man with the plan.
As long as I'm here, we have my commitment that with, this is pretty much budget, we'll provide those officers in the vehicle. And should, we may have to make a decision. I can't see any reason forthcoming why we would have to abolish it, but should that happen, the vehicle, as far as I would think, we'd get it back to the shelter. But I don't see that happen, as long as I'm sure. Unless you all force my hand on some kind of budget issue and take the money away.
And while we're talking about vehicles, if the commission will allow, I'll give you the history, Commissioner Acuff, on those 2 vehicles. The little Yala Ford Ranger was paid for solely from the Friends Group. They paid $10,000 for that vehicle. We searched high and low to find one that we felt would fit within our budget. At no point in time did Carter County or Elizabethton pay for that vehicle. The second vehicle, the green Chevrolet, was purchased from the Forest Service. That vehicle as well was paid for from donations that were made by citizens in this county. At no point in time did anyone invest in those vehicles. Now, there has to be vehicles down there for various reasons, and as far as those 2 vehicles, when we bought them, they were in the mid-60s as far as mileage, and I don't know what the current mileage is. Maybe Director Posada can tell us. But they're good vehicles, and they should service us for many years there at the shelter. But in talking with the sheriff, could you please explain why you need a vehicle?
It's the same thing as any other vehicle. You know, if you, put trash out to get trash in, you know, and you want respectable looking vehicles, and we've gone to great deeds to do that. I don't want officers driving vehicles that are worn out, responding to calls that we want to ensure that they may be safe, or will they meet the criteria for being equipped with lights, radios, things of this sort, which will overload their system. They're not police vehicles. They don't have that capability of providing that extra output, power to emergencies quick. This vehicle, like I said, it'll last us, you know, and this is a new concept for all of us. These are just estimates. Some that, you know, the vehicle lasts 5 to 7 years, it may last 3 years, it may last 10 years. We don't know what kind of mileage we're going to be putting on this vehicle.
Commissioner Peters.
This 39,000 or whatever, 30-some thousand.
It's not to exceed 35, up to carry you through June 30.
Through June 30th.
Yeah.
$34,801.
What is going to be the cost the next fiscal year?
Sheriff has that information because the biggest part of the cost that's been approved or asked to be approved was the startup cost. The vehicle is the biggest part of that. Sheriff?
Salary will run, it'll run $30,000 per year, plus benefits, Michael, which is about 33%. So $39,000 a year.
After this year?
After initial startup. Now that's, again, that's a profit, maybe come in a little less.
The reason I was asking is we vote something in and then it's hard to vote something out once it's voted in, so you better take that into consideration.
That's actually less than the cost of one officer.
And that's 24/7, correct, Sheriff? Yes. Any other, Mr. Ward?
Sharon, where's Freddie's role in this? Have we consulted with the city of Elizabethton? Is he going to maintain his job? Is the county going to go in the city? There's a lot of questions that a lot of us may have. I was just wondering, could you answer maybe?
As far as I'm concerned, and as far as that I know, Freddie's job will remain at the shelter as a regular employee.
So he won't be animal control anymore, he won't be going out to any residents?
Actually, Mr. Ward, we need everybody we've got just to cover the 24/7 operations at the shelter. When you look at the number of people we have now, we have a total of 5. Mr. Turner, Mr. Rainbow, Miss Wendy Mathis, Director Posada, and Miss Maria Talley. And keep in mind, it's a 24/7 operation. Mr. Turner would be required to stay there and help with the management of these animals, especially when we get into an operation where we're trying to serve 150 plus animals at capacity and beyond. So that's the plan. No, Mr. Turner will still be intact. The only thing about it is Mr. Turner will not be working great numbers of overtime. That's been one of the monetary problems that we've seen. We've discussed that part with the city. When you look at Mr. Freddie's salary, base salary, the overtime that he's getting when he's called out at all hours of the night and salary benefits, you're looking over $60,000 for one person. And the sheriff's going to provide this service 24/7, 365 days a year for about $39,000.
Shannon, has the City of Elizabethton and the Friends Group with the board, have they been contacted with that knowledge?
Mr. Barnett, you're chairman of this advisory board. Could you please speak to your position and what we're thinking about as far as this need for animal control?
Well, I think that we've had this discussion over a period of time that we're very, very concerned about our shelter staff. We, at our advisory board meetings and our Friends Group meetings, we're brought some horrendous situations of animal abuse, animal neglect, and these things are a very heavy burden for our organization. How handling has always been an issue. How do we afford it? We know that funds are tight. We know that we want to do things, sometimes we just don't have the money to do them. We've discussed this at length. Talked to Shannon a number of times. I know that her and Wendy have went out. I know in the past Wendy has went out numerous times with Freddie and without, even before we built the new shelter. And in all these situations, we realized they were putting their neck really out in a situation where it could really go very badly. And now in this society in which we live, it's even more extreme. We do believe that this is a good solution, at least to get us started and try to be better overseers with these animals' welfare. So I'd ask you all very much to consider this.
Thank you, Mr. Barnett. Any other questions for Ms. Posada? Mr. Johnson?
Ms. Director, since your state asked what your staff have confronted out in doing service calls, particularly after hours, are you still doing that?
Yes.
Do you know the liabilities, and have you been trained, or your staff been trained as to the legality of you going on property without proper warrant or probable cause?
We are responding to calls that are cruel.
Well, I know, but what I'm saying is, if Joe Smith comes out of court and says, you get off my property, you can't stay.
No.
Is your staff or not, have you all been trained as to what you can and cannot do? Because that's a liability for the county.
I can speak for myself, but I can't speak for the rest of the staff. Miss Wendy's back there, you can ask her.
The answer, Mr. Johnson, is no. And neither is Mr. Turner. He's got years of experience, but as far as official training, that's one of the reasons Sheriff has agreed to look into this. He will have people that are properly trained and brought up to standard. But Sheriff, please expand.
Well, I agree with that. I don't have to explain to you what a bell catcher is, or a law enforcement, because I've done it all my life, retired from it. It's just, we're putting employees at risk at night, not trained, asking them to do a job like that, which I, as an officer, even armed with a weapon, some of them, I wouldn't walk in the house. I mean, me and my 35 friends are going to come and pay attention, but I want to protect our employees.
Sheriff?
I have explained this to Ms. Posada, and a lot of people don't understand this. We started an animal control officer program. Those guys still can't, they'll not satisfy you 100% of the time, because they have to have legal authority to do anything that they're doing. And without that legal authority, it doesn't matter how much you want something done. They have to have a legal authority to be standing where they're standing. And that's where this comes into sworn officers that are trying to understand that.
Sheriff?
She's not.
If we pass this tonight, how quickly are your people ready?
We are shooting for the first place.
Okay, so.
You know, we may fall a little short because again, now you gotta remember, this is a new concept for everybody. We've got to evaluate and handpick my people to do this, because not everybody's suited to do this kind of work. And so that's the first thing that we're going to have to do. Yes.
Are you going to answer all calls?
Yes. I have talked to the city police chief, and we will also respond to calls from the city limits after an initial response by a city police officer. Because city police officers have the authority to enforce city ordinance. We do not have the authority to enforce city ordinance. City ordinance is a different respect policy. So they will respond, and they will be responsible for placing those charges for violations of city ordinances, not us.
Mr. Garland.
I'd like to add that Attorney Harden has previously drafted a resolution that covers a lot of the guidelines that we're looking for on the animal control. And that was, we spoke about it at the budget meeting Monday night. We're going to move it on to law enforcement committee to kind of finalize that.
That's another matter that's been hung up for quite some time, and the timing was right with what the sheriff's proposed, so it's a good thing that Attorney Harden and Chairman Barnett can attest to the fact. How many years have the advisory board been working to try to get tighter ordinances?
Probably as long as I've been involved in it.
Okay.
In years. I will ask one thing if I might. Sheriff, is there any calls that you will not respond to, or will you handle cruelty calls?
Yes,
As well as abuse calls?
yes, anything that the city gives, they will respond to 911 calls within the city limits. Regular patrol officers will respond to calls outside the city limits, and then they will make decisions, of course, based upon legalities, because again, you've got to base anything you do on legalities. Want to, don't matter. If it doesn't, you may want to do a hospital, but you can't, because you have that legal authority. And then the animal control officer will be dispatched from home, they'll rotate to the unit. They'll have a vehicle home, and they'll be responsible for the time of day. Again, we're in a learning process, and we're going to make mistakes should this get passed. We are. Be aware of that, but we'll learn from our mistakes.
Okay, Mr. Hill.
Mr. Solid, what is the shelter capacity right now? What, did we establish that max? What is our occupancy number?
We have about 31 cats and about 30, remember the number that I read, 33 dogs.
33 dogs, 41 cats.
No, 30. 31.
30
A
cats,
total of 64.
64 total.
But that's not capacity. That's what you currently have. We have cages that will handle and kennels up to, in a very tight situation, 150 upwards to 200 animals. We've been there, we've done that. And that's what we're going to be looking at here quickly if we don't develop these other partnerships and relations. Mr. Jenkins.
Real quickly, just I thought a common welfare check on an animal that comes to you guys. I mean, you guys don't have to
No, we
respond
can't,
to that.
no. Just to go check on somebody's
The animal shelter
We can't
can
tie
still
them.
respond to the common welfare check. We're just talking about 911 calls.
State laws is not, to be honest with you, don't be mean, I love animals, but state law does not cover cruelty under the circumstances that you deal with people with. You know, as long as they got food, shelter, and water.
Mr. Peters.
It's my understanding that we will respond to calls inside the city.
The animal control officer.
Okay. Is the city, I know it's not announced, but would the city be willing to help us with this cost? Being we're providing them with the service?
The city's already agreed under contract September the 19th, 2016. It automatically renewed for 50% of the operational cost. So the city's guaranteed that. This contract automatically renewed September the 19th, 2016. Go back and pull the records down Miss Mary Googe's office. Look at the newspaper articles that everybody was tickled to death to get that organization and to get that type of partnership and split. So they've already agreed to it. Mr. Lyons.
They
Mr.
agreed
Lyons.
to this proposal we're fixing to vote on tonight, that they will pay 50% of it?
They agreed to 50% of the operation cost at that shelter. We've got 4.5+ years left on that contract. Mr. Lyons.
Yeah, I had an opportunity to go to my first advisory board meeting this past 2 weeks ago, the animal shelter advisory board meeting. And if I'm not totally naive about what was discussed, this issue has to do with the risk of the staff going into homes at night, different locations in the county, and making sure the staff are not put at risk. It doesn't have a lot to do with some of the other discussions we've had about Brother Wolf or any of that. This has to do strictly with an officer going to the house. I remember Wendy and Mr. Sada talking about this the other night. We need some assistance in making sure that we are not put at risk when we're getting called out at 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm not going to use my good old boy language anymore. I'll clean it up and say this. It all has to do with putting your staff at risk at night, dangerous places, and not being held liable in that process.
It's not only at night. It's not only at night, it's during the day as well. Okay? Any other questions? Let's try to wrap this thing up pretty quick. Mr. Miller.
I'd like to congratulate her on her job. I've heard so many good things about what a good job she's doing. All over the
Mr. Ward.
But I'd like to address this commission right here. We let Carter County know that we don't think more of cats and dogs than we do human life. So we ought to think about cats and dogs or human life. We can spend money on cats and dogs. The other subject we had earlier, we can't spend money. Folks, human lives are a lot better than a dog. A lot better than a cat.
Mr. Ward.
We can't afford to let people in our county say, hey, they think more of the animals than they do human lives.
Mr. Ward.
Jim, I got a quick question for you. Are we doing the intake of any animals for that small at this time?
We are doing intake. We do have some cats, as I told you before, that's at LMU. And we have those kennels, smart veterinary kennels that are not filled. We are taking it.
If I came over there tomorrow with 10 kittens, you'd take every one.
We would.
Mr. Campbell.
See if I'm getting this right. We're gonna furnish, the county's gonna furnish a patrol car.
A truck.
5 men, is that right? Be trained.
Sheriff,
And,
clarify for Mr. Campbell so that we've got this straight. He's wanting to know what you're going to provide for this money.
I'm going to provide you with a vehicle and an officer to respond to animal control issues in the entire county 24 hours a day, on an on-call basis.
what I'm getting to is this inside the city budget.
Yes.
So why should we furnish all the money the city doesn't furnish part of this? They're gonna pay
We're already.
Well, I don't think we're talking about the same.
Yes, we are, sir. Any
You
cost,
brought the animal shelter into this, and it had nothing to do with it.
this is all part of it. We are receiving, until we got there in June of last year, we really didn't know the extent of this operation. And now with Ms. Posada coming on board, we're expanding into areas where there's absolute need. This is all part of it. 50% of this will be paid by the city, 50% by the county. It's
There
split
won't be
right.
any increase next year for the animal shelter or the patrol cars and all this stuff.
Sheriff,
I'm talking about the animal shelter too.
there will be no increases other than the budget that has already been submitted and what the sheriff will cost. And the initial cost is about $35,000 up to carry us through June 30. The biggest portion of that, about $25,000 of that, is for his vehicle. Now next year, he'll already have his vehicle, he'll have his equipment, he'll have all the training behind him starting July 1. So the only cost that I'm hearing from the sheriff, correct me if I'm wrong, Sheriff, is about $34,000 plus the benefits section, which.
$30,000 plus the benefits.
Okay, so about $35,000 or something like that, $39,000.
Guys, this is simple, we need to protect our staff.
Let me add this, this is not a sheriff's act, this is something that several commissions and citizens over, even when I used to work there in 1984, it was an issue, it's always been an issue. Animal control, we need them. Yes, we do, but we can't afford to fund 5 full-time officers, like coverage 24/7, and 5 vehicles. You can, this is cost a couple $150,000 a year to do that. This is just a fix, it's a suggested fix, it's up to you all what we do it.
Thank you, Ms. Posada. Thank you, Ms. Posada. Madam Clerk, if you would, proceed with the vote. All those in favor of authorizing up to $35,000 for this animal control program, with the bulk of that going for the vehicle and equipment to carry us through June 30, respond by aye. Those opposed, nay. Madam Clerk. Mr. Hill.
Yes, sir.
If you would please confirm, reveal the vote. 16 ayes, motion passes. Thank you.
Next item was brought to us concerning Veterans Buddy Program, and this is that we will approve amount up to not to exceed $700. This is from now to the end of the budget term, for the balance for a Veterans Buddy Program, which would allow the veterans to adopt animals from the shelter at no cost to them. And I'll put that for a motion to receive up to not to exceed $700.
Okay, motion made by Chairman Culler, seconded by Ms. Brown. That was the first one I heard. I may be wrong in that. Any discussion on Veterans Buddy sponsoring through the end of the year? Yes, sir.
I want to congratulate the Princes for putting this forward. I think it's a wonderful program. Pet therapy is known for its effectiveness, not only in the classroom, but with vets as well. So thank you both for taking that.
To add to that, Commissioner, these folks have started ground level zero. They've taken all the right steps. They've established a 501c3. They've put together a very professional board of veterinarians and veterans. So they've done an excellent job.
I would like to add that would be coming from the fund balance.
Okay? And that's 700 to carry through the end of the year, and then hope that they'll have much success and be back for increases at a later date. Madam Clerk, proceed with the vote. Reveal the vote. Motion passes. Thank you.
That is all I have. I will tell you that the hearings on the budget for next year begin April the 3rd at 6 o'clock.
Thank you, Ms. Culler. Buildings and Grounds, Chairman Isaiah Grindstaff.
Real quick, the only thing that I actually had when you covered was, in your package, you'll find a letter from the dog tank. This was brought to me by Mike Hill. You have your son, Mike? Yeah. This is something that was brought up. He's actually went around and talked to several of the office holders in the buildings. We are lacking in veterans parking spaces in some of our facilities. And this has been brought up once before. The idea is to allow a one or two parking spaces for combat wounded veterans or for additional veterans to be at every facility to make them feel welcome and give them a place to park. There is a cost associated with this, and I've asked Commissioner Hill to go out and look, speak with the office holders at these different locations to see if they would be interested to see how many parking places, and then to get back with our commission or our committee so that we can sit down and go over these. But if you'll read this handout in your packet there, that gives you a lot of information, and there's some questions and some stuff that needs to be covered.
I make a motion, we accept this.
Mr. Chairman, if you would please.
Right now, there's nothing to make a motion on. We have some groundwork and some legwork that needs to be done. This was just some information.
And I think you're in conversation with Mr. John Hartman, City of Elizabethton.
He reached out to me today. I haven't had a chance due to work and of course the meeting now to reach back out with him.
Sure.
But that's part of the groundwork, part of the legwork that we need to accomplish.
Before you feel that we can take action on it. Mr. Hill.
I just wanted to point out that these aren't free. There is a cost associated with it, and they're looking for sponsors for these parking places. I took my last committee stipend. It's only $50, which is really quite a bargain for something like this. The dog tag brigade guys, Mr. Chris Arnold came and presented to the committee. I was tickled to introduce him. I wrote him a check that night for my commission stipend of $50 to sponsor the first sign in Carter County. I would like to challenge the rest of this body to kick in a committee stipend and purchase a sign and then find a place to put it. I spoke with Ms. Barksdale over at the Carter County Elizabethton Library, and they're going to accommodate me for the first sign in Carter County. But we could have up to 24. Here's the second one in Carter County. Thank you, sir. That's all I have to say about it.
All right.
Okay, and I understand, everybody wants to support the veterans. At no point in time, I don't think there's anyone in this room that would take a position against doing what we can to support the veterans. The only question is, there are some, depending on the building, if you're looking at street parking, then that's another matter. You have to go before the city, planning, zoning, and that group to get authorization. As far as the parking lots here, there are a number of spaces if Buildings and Grounds so chooses to put those, but we're very limited even with that. The parking lot across the street, you could probably have a couple, one on the front, one on the back if you want it closer to planning. As far as the sheriff's department, that's not under the city's purview. That'll be up to county's Buildings and Grounds Committee to decide. As far as over at the Election Commission, should not be a problem there because that sidewalk is at the entry side. As long as you do it on that sidewalk for elections, you're okay. So there's lots of decisions, and I think the Buildings and Grounds just need to get back together, and they'll do everything they can to expedite this. And thank you, Mr. Hill, for your work on it. Okay. Now, next item. Anything else, Mr. Grindstaff, that you'd like to discuss as far as Buildings and Grounds?
No, the only thing that I would add to that is, this is very early in the planning phase. This is something that was brought to our attention that we this is a cause that we as a committee think that we feel
Right.
is an appropriate cause. And, but like I said, there's still a lot of legwork that needs to be done, still a lot of approvals that may be pending, and these parking spaces will have to be voted on one at a time, and make sure we have all the proper approvals. So that'll be during our next meeting, hopefully, and we'll bring something to you at the future meeting.
Appreciate all your efforts on that, Commissioner Grindstaff. Next item, Education Committee. Mr. Ward.
I'll make this quick, because I know everybody wants to get out there for a holiday here. In April, we'll be having our meeting at Central Elementary on the 6th. But first Monday of the month, we'll be having our meeting over there, and we'd like to invite all the commissioners out to come and join us. On the 13th, we're going to have a reporting workshop with the school system. We'll be here in this auditorium. And the thing on the agenda will be salary studies by Larry Russell. So we'd like to get all the commissioners that possibly could come out. That'll be at 4 o'clock on the 13th. So, and then the next school board meeting will be the 20th, if you guys would like to come out to those.
What day is the meeting on?
Their meeting is first one of the month. April 3rd, 6 o'clock, and 10.
That's not, we're having our first meeting.
Anything else, Mr. Ward?
That's all.
Financial Management, Mr. Lyons.
Even though I have a motion, could I stay here instead of coming to the podium?
Yes, sir, if you would. If you'll speak loud enough, everybody can hear you.
I make a motion to approve a credit card with a $5,000 limit for EMA to be used for emergency purposes only.
Have a motion for authorization of credit card for EMA. Mr. Jenkins, seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, proceed with the vote. All those in favor of this motion respond by aye. Those opposed, nay. Reveal the vote. Motion passes. Next item. Mr. Lyons?
That's all I have, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lyons. Mr. Holdren, Health and Welfare.
Health and Welfare only had one new item, and that was the Veterans Buddy Program, which we've already discussed.
Yes.
And made a motion to approve, and thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate you. Appreciate advancing that on to the commission. Highway Committee, Mr. Hill.
Yes, sir. No action to take today, but we will be having a public hearing at our next meeting to consider requesting that the state of Tennessee name and the bridge numbers in the minutes here out on State Route 67 after Harold Wilson. So that public hearing will be at the next meeting at 2 p.m. at the Highway Department.
Okay. Is that all, sir?
That's all I've got.
Ask about that, Mike, as far as that public hearing, everything goes okay. What's the next steps on who do we contact with the legislature or whatever? Do you know?
When we added Ronville Cole's name to the route from Ronville Cole Highway, there was a resolution, I believe, sent to the county.
Once that's approved by committee, we'll draft county attorney will draft a resolution, bring it back to this body. Once it's passed, then he will advance it on to the General Assembly. And that's worked well. Of course, if they're still in session, if they can get it in the omnibus bill, you'll be okay. If not, you'll have to wait an entire year. Okay, until they come back. Yes, sir.
I think in the past, there was like a $500 fee on the state road. I don't know who has to pay that, but there's like $500.
We did mention that to the family at the meeting the other day, and they said they were willing to go to that.
Yeah, the last one, I think the Ralph and Rhonda Cole was under that, and there were many signs, multiple signs up Highway 91 on state route. So if the families agreed to take care of that cost, we're okay. Anything else, Mr. Hill?
That's all I've got, sir.
Okay, Landfill Committee, Ms. Deeds.
Talk better standing up, so I'm standing.
Okay.
Director Lyons is not here tonight because he's in Nashville at a solid waste meeting. And Commissioner Hill has written very good minutes. I hope you have those in front of you there. I've looked at just a few areas. There's surveys, notes on surveys.
One survey was conducted to ensure operations at the demo site remain within specified boundaries. And that survey has been done, and operations are within the correct boundaries. There's a second survey that will be conducted to determine the lifespan of the landfill. And at this time, we're waiting on the cost for that survey. On another subject, the committee is trying to work with Mr. Jordan, I think he is, with Carter County Proud, in ways to clean up the trash in the county and help keep the county clean. And we appreciate his efforts and ideas. Mr. Jordan has spent many hours organizing efforts to make our county clean and more beautiful. But in our discussions with Mr. Jordan, he's always bringing up a free day. And as I stated at our last meeting, we cannot afford a free day for two main reasons. Cost, of course, is the major factor. And the second reason is the damage to our demolition landfill. The last free day cost the county approximately $60,000. And that came out of the landfill's budget, and that's not going to happen again. He doesn't have the money for that. And also, at the landfill, at the last free day, the landfill was just, the load of materials that came in was too much for the landfill. And at this time, since we know that the lifespan of the landfill is not, we do not have many years left, then we cannot afford to take in all that material. But in the minutes, if you'll look, you will see that we discussed a plan to have a free day to accept tires. Now, of course, the tires would not go to the landfill. They would be transported. And that was the reason we thought we might try to go that route. But for this to go forward, we must determine the cost. We have not determined the cost as yet. And at our next meeting, we will discuss this idea further.
Ms. Deeds?
Yes.
If I may, I just have a question.
Yes.
You said the cost for that one day was $60,000. Do you have any idea what the total operating budget for the landfill is?
I believe at our last meeting, he mentioned it was 407,000.
Well, ma'am, 60,000 times 365 brings you at $22 million. So there is a problem with that number. I don't know where that number's coming from, but you know, $22 million, $21,900,000. So I think we just need to take a second look at that number to be certain that it's real numbers, because Mr.
Oh, you mean the 60,000?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Because it just don't equate out. $22 million, and that's more than the entire county operating budget. So I think that we need to take a look at that to make certain that those numbers are accurate, because I cannot see $60,000 worth of material, manpower, and labor for one day operation at that landfill. It just does not make sense. Thank you.
That's the report I have from Mr. Lyons.
I understand.
Take that up with you.
Well, I think the whole commission needs to take it up, Mr. Lyons, because that's...
I'm sure he'll be glad to explain it, because he's thrown that figure out to us several times.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? Continue on, I'm sorry.
I'm finished if anyone else has a question.
Any other questions for Ms. Deeds? Mr.
I'm not on this present landfill, but I listened carefully when they talk about this free day. Now, I realize John knows about anything. Let me tell you, it was around $10,000, $15,000 big lifetime. Now, I'm gonna cut the tires now, taking tires out of it. But if you have a free day, that's gonna get some of this garbage around these districts. People who's gonna call in. And what good is the taxpayers gonna get out of this landfill? Or what good is the taxpayers gonna get out of the taxes if we don't provide another service for them? And I don't think free day is really asking too much for the citizens of Carter County. Take a look at garbage up on the phone to, and now they talk about this landfill 6 years. Lord, this old landfill might last 10 years. We don't know how long it's gonna last. But I think we're doing people an injustice to not giving them a free day.
Okay, any more questions for Ms. Dietz? Thank you, Ms. Dietz. Law enforcement, Mr. McQueen.
Mr. Chairman, I'm also going to, as a member of the advisory board, county liaison, touch base on that. First thing I'd like to say is thank you to the sheriff and your department for keeping us safe. It's the primary function of law enforcement is to protect and serve, and we appreciate what you do. Also like to thank Dr. Ward for your work. I know you've been busy here lately, so I know the weather is changing hourly. So, and just to kind of put into perspective what these gentlemen go through. So when they go out and they get in a patrol car and they get out in the county, anything can happen at any time. And their primary focus is protecting us, our children, our families. That's what it's about. When Dr. Ward makes a decision to close schools, he's thinking about everyone's kids in the county. They've got that responsibility on their shoulders. They do absolutely everything within their power to protect us and keep us safe. All that being said, I'm sure they are proponents and they really want to have this resource officer situation maximized, as do we all. And I personally would love to see that go through law enforcement as well, and obviously budget, so that we can show our support and how much we care about that as well. And certainly we care about the people of Little Milligan and all throughout the county. So that being said, we will do everything we can, at least from my committee. I'm sure the budget committee does a great job, and they'll handle that as well, as expeditiously as possible. Just wanted to get that out there. I can't get up. Respect is the #1 thing that I would ever learn. So I apologize for this double barrel truth here. I got to put it out there and say something and stand up for these people who won't stand up for themselves. And as far as law enforcement goes, that's really all we're working on right now. We haven't had a lot moving through, obviously in conjunction with Mr. Grindstaff, Chairman Grindstaff, Williams Brown, with the courthouse updates and renovations and things of that nature. That's progressing well. Second thing I want to touch on is the Animal Shelter Advisory Board. For 6 months, I have said nothing as hard as I can. To sit back and say nothing about it. And watch as these papers fill up on our desk and people stand and fight and divisive and things that are just not in the character of leadership. So, first of all, my responsibility. County liaison, it's my fault. I walked that animal shelter dozens of times, talked to multiple directors, and I never saw anything was wrong. Mr. Campbell could tell me there was something wrong because he went to pet a cat and they were sneezing and sickness. I didn't see it, so ultimately that's on me. So I'm going to take responsibility for that and let you guys know that I should have caught that. But I don't know enough about animals, and that's why it's so important to have qualified people who do know something about it and they're taking care of it. And I think we're blessed to have a director now that has a ton of experience with animals and is doing that. And I thank you all for keeping them safe as well. As for these things, these have got to stop. The factual information is very limited. Math is inaccurate. I'm not a judge. I'm not going to tell people how to live their lives. I certainly stand for the principles of traditional marriage. That gives me no authority to say, we can't take money, your money, if you prefer to wear women's clothing. This is ludicrous.
Point of order. I think you're giving a report, not a commissioner comment.
Ma'am, Miss Officer, could you take care of this for me, please? This lady's disrupting our proceedings. If you would remove her from the gallery. Mr. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Mr. Ward, please sit down, sir. Mr. McQueen, could you continue your comments under Commissioner comments?
Yes, sir. And just to state, this is protocol that we followed before when I'm liaison for the Animal Shelter Advisory Board. I went from law enforcement to that, and I did signal a transition.
That's correct.
So that being said, I want to see us work together. That's the point of it. No more of the silliness. If we really care about the animals, when we went to the last city council meeting, they said, and I quote, colleagues of mine in the city, we don't want anything to do with it. If we continue to fight, we will cut all funding and the animal shelter will shut down. That's not about the animals. And if you're truly about the animals, like many of the volunteers are, many of the people that got up on this podium and cried in front of us that really care about animals, then we will work together and we'll do the things that are needed to make a change.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
How many meetings have you missed?
I'm happy you asked, and that's a fair question. You will see that if you look at the minutes, that Attorney Harden addressed a letter to us stating that the meetings were being held at the same time, and that was not legal, that we could not have a advisory government meeting and a Friends Group nonprofit meeting. At that time, I was board secretary on the nonprofit, and at the time, I was secretary on the government, the advisory board. Until that was rectified, I could not, in good conscience, attend a meeting that the attorney tells me that it's not legal, you can't do it, you gotta separate them. I requested during subsequent meetings to have those separated. That has not been done at this date, and that's why I've not been there. Fair question, and I appreciate your question, sir.
And along those lines, Mr. Ward,
I want to finish up with my question. Why, if you've not been going to those meetings, and you were supposed to be our liaison, why have you not told us before now that you were not attending the meetings that we put you on that board to attend? I want to know why. You've not come to us and told us anything about that.
My comments are limited. There is an ongoing investigation. I have produced all of my minutes, all of my documentation to the comptroller, to the state investigator, and I am limited on what I can say and when I can say it. Only at a time, which I have put in my resignation for the Friends Group, so I'm no longer part of that board, which allowed me to come speak to you regarding this today without having a conflict of interest or without stepping over those lines, and also not mentioning any of the details of an ongoing investigation.
Well, I feel like you could at least come go through what you want to do, you know.
Obviously, I can do better at a lot of things, sir.
okay. Any other questions or any statements from you, Mr. McQueen, before you have a seat? Yes, sir.
I rise to object to the decision of the chair to remove this person from the room.
Now, Mr. Holt.
I have a general question about
Sure.
the SRO.
That needs to be acted on.
Thank you, Mr.
I'm sitting-
Meehan. Thank you. You have a nice set there, okay? Go ahead, Mr. Holder.
I have a general question about the SRO
Yes.
officers. Is that a typical rotation, or are those SRO officers stationed at one primary location due to their familiarity with that school?
Mr. Sheriff.
They are assigned to the school. There are a lot of issues involved in SRO in that school. That's why a rotation program will not work. Mr. Johnson was SRO in a former life, and had been on the commission. He can relate to that. You can't rotate SROs. There's parent issues, there's teacher issues, there's kids issues. You just can't do it, because when you take that SRO from Happy Valley and rotate him to Little Milton, he picks up those issues in Little Milton on that basis. Now he has issues with both schools. But you just can't do that. You can't. We do send one up there from time to time, but you can't rotate.
Nominating committee, Mr. Meehan, if you would, please.
There's still a motion on.
No, there's no motion, sir. Come to the podium. Let's go ahead with nominating committee. That you're not objecting to a motion, sir.
I appeal to the parliamentarian.
Well, sir, I think I heard you object to something. I mean, if you're appealing the decision of the chair, you can do that.
Yes,
And then then the body would vote.
Appealing his decision to remove someone from the.
Now the body votes to appeal, and then you vote on what your decision is, if you're going to allow this. Now, I don't know if this lady's still present or not.
I'll second it.
Have a motion made and second appealing decision as chair to remove a disturbance from the courtroom. Any discussion? Any discussion? No discussion. Madam Clerk? The motion is Mr. Meehan has appealed the decision of the chair to have Ms. McCamey removed from the courtroom due to her outburst. Now, if you're in agreement with allowing people to come in this courtroom and do outbursts, then go ahead and vote accordingly. If you're opposed, vote nay.
There were a number of outbursts when that happened.
I've got to say, the outburst came from the podium position, and he's talking about leadership. That's no way to act in front of his peers in a county that's people that care about this animal shelter. To me, that was just irresponsible and kind of embarrassing.
Madam Clerk, proceed with the vote. Mr. Johnson. No problem. Fourteen ayes. Motion passes. Officer, you can allow Ms. McCamey to come back in. Mr. Meehan, nominating.
I have several action items. First, I want to thank Mr. Garland for filling in as secretary for the committee. Because I can't write. We have put forth to replace a slot on the agricultural committee, and Mr. Garland put forth the application of Bobby Blevins, and I'm putting that forth as a motion to approve him as a member to replace the empty slot. I'll second.
Have a motion made and seconded duly by Mr. Campbell. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, proceed with the vote. Mr. Von Cannon, reveal the vote. Motion passes. Next item.
The Director of the Planning Commission, Mr. Trutler, has indicated that Mr. James Hughes is resigning and no longer wishes that his name remain on there. So we were given assurance that the mayor's office would advertise for that
Correct.
position. Is that correct?
That's correct.
There are two other appointments that the Director of the Planning Commission has put forth. One is for Gary Fairman, whose term expires, and Mr. Ralph Watson. We will handle them one at a time, and I'm going to put forth Mr. Gary Fairman to be reappointed to the Planning Commission.
Mr. Meehan, that motion did not make it out of committee, and neither have those positions been advertised as well. Traditionally, we have always advertised all positions prior to those being filled, sir. So are you asking that we break our tradition?
No, I'm asking that you acknowledge the Planning Commissioner Director to reappoint these people. And we had an opinion in the committee, he could correct me, from the attorney that this was a process that we kind of implemented, but it is actually, the appointments are only required by the full commission to approve.
But full commission, sir, has
Is that what you
always
said?
advertised those positions. We have not advertised these, and these matters were not ever discussed inside the Planning Commission.
Mr. Sugar, would you like to speak?
When it's a reappointment, they're not re-advertised. When a person requests a reappointment, the only advertisement we'll have is Mr. Hughes, who was resigned.
We have in the past always did advertisements for all positions to see who is available, and at no point in time, Mr. Schuler, I attend all those Planning Commission meetings. Correct me, Mr. Jenkins, Mr.
Well, let's go to the
Lyons.
last couple of months ago when Mr. Jenkins and Mr. Carroll was reappointed. Those positions were not advertised, Mayor. I apologize.
I'll make a
Had to speak
motion,
in that
we
way.
reappoint them.
I second the motion.
Have a motion already made by Mr. Meehan, second by Ms. Dietz, to reappoint Mr.
Gary Fairman.
Pierman and Watson.
Wait, Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Could I ask the county attorney a question?
You most certainly can, County Attorney.
Mr. Attorney, if someone from these other districts would want a position, and we go ahead and fill them without advertising it, would they be eligible for a lawsuit against the county?
Well, I find no requirement within the law or our private act that's regard to these positions that there's an advertisement. They're nominated just like anybody else, and frankly, a lot of the positions that we traditionally have advertised for are not necessarily required. I mean, it's been the practice of the county to do that, to try to get a pool of applicants to choose from. But I'm unaware of any requirement that it's actually advertised.
Ms. Brown?
Are there any problems with the conflict of interest on a committee like this with having relatives? Somebody working out of the office and then somebody on the actual committee?
I mean, I would have to know this.
Conflicts, can they be in conflict?
Certainly there's a potential for conflicts in any government role. I mean, I would just have to know the specifics. I'm sorry, I'm not sure exactly.
Okay. Justin works for the planner. Ralph Watson is his grandfather.
Okay.
And he's the one that we're voting. So that could be a conflict.
Well, I guess if Mr. Watson had supervisory authority, he would certainly need to abstain, I think, from any, certainly benefits-based decisions or things of that nature that involved his relative. But I don't think that'd be an absolute bar from him being on the commission.
Could you do some checking on
Sure,
that?
sure.
Mr. Holdren?
I think we're setting a poor precedence here for the community and the citizens if we just as a commission appoint these folks, because you're going to squelch other citizens who may or may not want to show some interest in these positions. So if you don't advertise, then you're not going to have a pool of applicants. You're not going to know other people that may be interested in being that citizen involved in that committee. Now, you may not get any people that, and you may end up with these two individuals, but I think we're setting a poor precedence when we don't advertise and open it up.
That may be, and I want to just address that a little bit. I believe Mr. Jenkins on the rules and bylaw, are we not working on times and rotations off the various committees, and that's going to come up? Did I understand you to say?
Well, it could come up as far as the changes in the subcommittees, but I don't think, as far as durations of them, I haven't been working on that.
Okay, maybe I misunderstood what you were saying about working on term limits on the various boards and committees.
I looked at it for planning, and that's all I know.
Mr. Lyons? Sir, since we're in discussion on this particular motion, we have a motion on the floor. Would it be possible for you to come take the chair for the mayor to add some discussion?
I'd like to make one comment if I could first.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll just say this to Chris. I wish it had come to, on the agenda in terms of the planning commission itself. And let us have a discussion on Mr. Pearman and Mr. Watson before we brought it here tonight. I think it would have been good for us to have that discussion on the committee, Chris. That's what I'm saying. And then when he got here, maybe it wouldn't.
Historically, it's always been the nominating committee and then brought forth before the full commission. And reappointments, just as so, we did a few months ago for Mr. Jenkins and Mr. Carroll, was a direct reappointment, just like yours will be if you decide to stay on.
My point is, I just think it would be good business if you're sitting on a committee and you're talking about your fellow committee members coming up with a reappointment. But I think it would be good to have that discussion around that particular table with that body, just like we did in building and grounds, just like we have done in those committees that I sit on with Mr. Jenkins, we had those discussions about who's going to be the chair, who shouldn't be the chair. And that's the only point that I would make. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? What do you want me to do, Mayor?
If you come up and take chair for just a minute, allow the mayor an opportunity to engage in this discussion.
You know, I'm starting to like it up here in this chair a little bit. You better watch out, maybe, Mayor. I'm only kidding. I'll go ahead and recognize the mayor to go ahead and speak on the issue.
Folks, you know, there's been a number of occasions probably we've made mistakes through the years. And if we made appointments without proper advertisements, that was a mistake. Just because you made one mistake, do you make multiple mistakes? I think not. We need to make certain, going forward, this is Commission of Compliance. We've always been the Commission of Compliance. We're trying to do everything to follow the letter of the law. So, you know, it's beyond me why you would want to make the exceptions. And there's opportunities here. We've got a lot of obligations that have been monetary obligations that have been put forth to this commission. And we're going into a budget session here soon. We've got to look very, very hard at where you're going to spend your money and where you're not going to spend your money. I mean, it's happening all across the state of Tennessee. It's happening in Washington, D.C. Our new president has put together a budget, and there's been tremendous cuts. And a lot of people on edge. People on edge. Now, how's that going to change the landscape? 2 years, 5 years, 10 years from today? I don't know. But we've got to do the same thing here. We've got to do the due diligence. And we have opportunities to make some cuts. This particular board consists of 12 members. 12 members for a private act. A year plus ago, one of our commissioners asked the county attorney to draft a resolution that would fix that. It would give you an opportunity to go from 12 members.
Point of order. We're supposed to be addressing the motion on the floor, and we're getting off onto another subject.
Mr. Meehan, sir, I don't interrupt you much.
I'm not interrupting you, sir. I'm just trying to...
Would you please allow the chair to do his job?
I was going to comment on that. Mr. Meehan, I'll allow him to continue to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate that. There is a resolution.
Excuse me, Mayor. I'm seeing a lot of facial expressions. I just made the wrong decision. If anyone wants this chair, you can run for it next year. Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
Sorry to cause you that kind of grief, Mr. Hines.
That's okay.
But believe me, I see it every time we come
I
to
understand.
session. Well, the bottom line is there's a resolution that's going to financial management, and it may or may not pass, but it's following the procedures. If that resolution passes, it'll be back here next month, and it'll give you the opportunity to fix plan commission, fair and equal representation with each of the districts. Why currently, right now, for instance, we have, in the 7th district, we have Mr. Lyons, which you're doing a good job, Ms. Culler, she's doing a good job. Both of you sitting on that board, 2 representatives from the same district. We also have Mr. Randall Jenkins in the 6th, and we have Mr. Ken Arney on that board. Again, duplication in that particular district. And right now, once we advertise, if we go ahead and fill the gentleman Mr. Hughes, when he rolls off, we've already got Mary Patton there, Mary Ann Patton. So that's 3 districts with 2 representatives. Now, how can that be fair? And also, if you reduce this and make it where you've got 1 district, 1 commissioner per district, that will save you $1,800+ a year. So that's a savings, folks. That's a savings. I just wanted to point that out before you take a vote. We want to make certain that when you vote tonight, make certain, as Mr. Holbert said, that we're being fair to all the community. And if we have opportunities for savings, we need to look at those hard. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No.
No, you stay there until, that's the rule, sir, until this vote's completed.
Go ahead, Mr. Meehan, speak, sir.
We need to vote.
Any other discussion on the motion?
Restate it, please.
What is the motion? Is that my job as well?
The motion is put forward by the chairman of the planning commission to reappoint Mr. Jerry Chairman to the planning commission.
And Mr. Watson, or just one, sir?
No, we're doing one at a time.
Okay. Okay, do I hear a second on the motion?
We have
Who seconded the motion? Okay. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll? One at a time?
one at a time.
Yes, one at a
What I
time.
understood, proper protocol.
Proper protocol. It's not working.
Did you, is that yours, Mr. Lyons?
When you come up here, you don't have gadgets, you know what I mean?
Here you go, Mr. Lyons.
I thought I was the mayor. Hey, I thought I was the mayor now. Come on. Give me a break. Give me a break. Reveal the vote. The vote is revealed.
Motion passed.
Motion passed. Go ahead, Mr. Meehan.
Second item would be the recommendation by the chairman of the planning commission to put forth Ralph Watson as reappointment to that.
Do I hear a second? Ms. Culler, second. Any discussion?
When will I get my research results?
As soon as I can do the research, it won't be right now, but
Why not, Josh?
this week, certainly.
Any other discussion on the motion? Seeing none, call the roll, please. Reveal the vote.
Else?
Mr. Tester, yeah.
Motion passed.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Lyons.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I don't think I have any more unless there's questions.
Thank you, Mr. Meehan. Okay. Parks and Rec. Mr. Jenkins.
Parks and Rec, I think we've heard enough earlier about Parks and Rec, so we just skip that, just read the minutes, it's in the packet. Rules and bylaws, just real quick housekeeping. I'd like to make a motion that we start or restart the accumulation of vacation time policy starting April the 1st. And that is to go along with the Sheriff's Department's new handbook and policy that they're starting on April 1st. I'll put that in form of a motion.
Motion made, seconded by Ms. Brown.
Restate the motion.
To restart the accumulation of vacation time policy that we've had on hold for the past couple of months. If we started it before the sheriff's department's new policy goes in, it messes up a whole bit of stuff. So their policy starts on April 1st, ours will start on April 1st as well.
Have a motion duly made and second. Any questions? Any additional discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, proceed with the vote. Ms. Dietz. Reveal the vote. Motion passes. Next item.
That's pretty much all I have besides, I'd like to formally request that the Sheriff's Department employee handbook be placed in the minutes. And I'll give you a copy of that, and that's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Are there any other committee reports that I have missed? County Attorney report.
Yes, sir. Off the top, litigation update, no new litigation filed once again this month, so that's a good thing. On the old litigation front, there was a lawsuit filed by former inmate Stephen Taylor against our former sheriff and captain and about 10 other people. That was finally dismissed with prejudice by the federal district court. However, I think Mr. Taylor may enforce his right to appeal that up to circuit court, but that remains to be seen. But at least as for now, good news that an old lawsuit is dismissed. Next thing, county delinquent tax sale. That is scheduled for this Friday in this courtroom. Registration for that will begin at 8 a.m. and the sale starts at 9 a.m. As of today, we've got about 60 parcels, approximately 60 remaining in the sale. And as far as that goes, I do need a vote from you all on something. By state law 67-5-2501, when we have the tax sale, if there's any parcels that are not bid on, the clerk of the court conducting the sale, which in this case is Melissa Moreland, our clerk and master, the statute reads shall bid in, for the county and place the minimum bid on those parcels so they become owned by the county, unless you all feel that there financial liabilities or environmental risks would deem that we should not bid for that. I can say that I am unaware of any parcels on which there exists any detrimental financial liability or environmental risks. So I would ask just for a vote from this commission confirming that the clerk will bid in the minimum bid for the county on any parcels in which the minimum bid is not received.
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion made by Ms. Culler, second by Mr. Grindstaff. Is that correct? Okay. Any further discussion or question of the attorney? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, proceed with the vote. Mr. Campbell, reveal the vote. Motion passes.
Okay, as far as the update on the rest of the work, as usual, anything that's asked of me opinion-wise from a county officer or commissioner, I get you that research. I've researched various issues this month. General Sessions Court, the Sheriff's Office reviewed their handbook, attended various committee meetings as I always do. I'll kind of gloss over this stuff. One big thing to report is the excess property sale. We had that this past Friday, the 17th. There were 14 parcels, as you all recall, and all 14 of those were sold. Some of them were not sold for the reserve, well, basically all but one of those were not sold for the reserve price that you all placed on them, which was not surprising. So the protocol for that is we will publish 10 days, I believe it will go in tomorrow. 10 days from that, the way I figure it, the deadline is the 31st of this month. If we receive no raised bids, one of those parcels will be final. The other 13 will be back before you all next month to approve that purchase for less than the reserve. But they all were sold and will be back on the tax rolls pending your approval. Last thing, the tourism contract, I was tasked to amend to change Chambers' audit report date from October to January. It's finally finished. I've got the signatures tonight, and so that contract is amended. And that's all I have.
Thank you, County Attorney. Commission comments. Commission comment. Mr. Acuff.
There should be a list making its way through the commission. Everybody's name is on that list, including theirs, for a prayer breakfast. This coming Monday, it will be at Sugarloaf, Bonnie Cake Theater. Try to be there by 6:15. We'll have some opportunity to learn about the leadership principles of Jesus. Most of us in this room probably accept him as our Savior. But let me tell you one story that comes out of the National Prayer Breakfast just a few weeks ago. President Abdullah, who is the president of Jordan, spoke at the prayer breakfast, a devout Muslim, but he talks about the leadership principles of Jesus and how he tries to follow those each and every day of his life. So even people around the world that are different religions than we are know about Jesus and his leadership opportunities for us to learn from him. So at the prayer breakfast, International Foundation, while I was in D.C., I went by and I've got leather books for each of us entitled Jesus. It goes from the four Gospels all the way through Revelation, but we all have the same copy. But the catch to that is you have to come to the breakfast with your copy. I had invited our city council counterparts, and they hopefully, Mayor Alexander has announced that. He's working on that component, but he will be there, and I hope the others will be there with us as well. So this coming Monday at the Bonnie Cake Sugarloaf Restaurant, we'll begin at 6:15. The buffet, I tried my best. I think I sent most everybody a note. Try to do it at $5. They're going to charge us $7, but don't let the price keep you away. Yes, Mr. Woods.
Mr. Acuff, I hate to say Apple drink without. We all need pray. But at 6:15 is kind of early for some people.
Well, if you can be there by 6:30, there'll still be some breakfast for you. Miss Peggy will make sure you're up and out the door. I know she will. So please come. I think tonight was another eye-opener. We're not attacking, or we don't want to attack one another. We want to talk about issues. That's what we want to attack. We want to have a robust discussion, but not tearing down one another. And I think the leadership principles of Jesus will let us do that. So hopefully we'll be there.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Acuff went to Washington, D.C. last week to help Mr. Trump drink the swamp, I believe.
Yeah. And we talked about wiretaps, so, you know.
Commissioner Von Cannon.
I'm looking at this document that was laid on our desk. I resent the fact that we have been imposed upon to look at something without vetting it. There's no vetting involved in this until after the fact. How many of you did the same homework that this group did? Anybody else besides myself? Checked on Brother Wood? Nobody? Here's what I did. I called my friend Scott Hale, and he just happened to be across the street from this group. And I said, bottom line, because I don't spend a lot of time moving around, bottom line, is this group for real? They're for real. All they need to know. Do you know anything about some of the work they've done? Yes. They sent people to Louisiana when they had the flood that was from Hammond to Denham Springs, 60 miles wide by 20-some miles deep, because Interstate 12 was actually dammed east and west. And I said, well, what was the deal there? And my relatives there, then I called them, and I found out that where they'd been in Louisiana, Denham Springs, and Livingston, and Greensburg. And here's what they told me, that the rescue of the people was the only thing that they were required to do, the law enforcement, the emergency management people, and that makes sense. However, Brother Wolf were the people that went out and interviewed and rescued the animals. Hundreds, thousands of animals were rescued by Brother Wolf because the people were given the first choice, actually. Therefore, we don't need to be given anything laid on the table a few minutes before the meeting. And I'm going to make a motion in the next meeting that anything that comes to us late is deferred to the next month because we don't have time to vet it. And if you don't have time to vet anything, you don't need to be a commissioner. Amen.
I second.
Any other commissioner comments? Mr. Hill.
Yes, sir.
He said next committee.
Since this is commission comments, I don't know if I'm allowed to make a motion.
Sure.
In that case, then, anything that comes to us late, we defer that information until the next month, if it requires any kind of voting, so we can vet the information. Now, I tell you what I found in this respect. I've had a border collie that we dearly loved for 17 years. That dog didn't care, looking at the first thing about a drag queen. That dog didn't care whether I was great or straight to me. All he wanted was fed a couple times a day and petted. Therefore, what does that have to do with how people treat their animals? Do gay people under there abuse their animals more than anybody else does? Do they? Maybe they do, maybe they don't.
Mr. Von Cannon.
The motion was, made.
I second that motion.
It's getting pretty deep here. Mr. Von Cannon, the only thing that I have, I'd like for you to clarify the motion. You know, in the past, we already have a rule pertaining to commission and items that hit the table. We've already been down that road. My question is, are you directing this at commission items?
I would say anything that comes in of a nature of this kind of volume, if it's something like if it's a committee report, those ought to come on in. However,
Who makes the decision?
something of this nature should be vetted.
We have a motion duly made by Mr. Von Cannon and clarified now that this would be limited to outside information coming in that's not been vetted by committee. And Mr. Johnson's shaking his head that he's in agreement with that because we already have our other rules in place.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Jenkins.
I was just, I want to make clear, if it's minutes or something like that, yea or nay?
Committee reports, they need to come on.
Things that are already inside the process, okay, we already have our rules. He's talking specifically about outside information that's not been before any committee from the public. It needs to be submitted to or redirected to a committee for them to address it and then bring it back the following month.
I'm all happy with it. I was going to say we should take it back to rules and bylaws, but I think it's
Mr. Meehan.
Well, I think you're going to run into problems with that, because we've had examples today. You had the Confederate things, or the bridge, the canoe landing, and we have groups that come in and they can't get that stuff out to everybody. And so I think you're gonna be running into some difficulties trying to legislate this.
They have public comments for that.
Public comments is a totally different situation. Mr. Holdren.
If the public wants to get us information, are they allowed to give this information to the clerk's office and they put it in our mailbox?
Most definitely. Most definitely. At any point in time, they can contact the clerk. She can put it in your box in advance of the meeting, and you can have an opportunity to review it. But to bring it in and throw it on the table with no other advance notice, that's what Mr. Von Ken is trying to do. Any other comments? Mr. Hill.
Okay, thank you, sir. I was recently appointed to the board of the Shepherd's Inn. Last year, we did what I consider to be...
Sir, could we wait until we address this motion? It's been duly made and seconded.
Oh, sorry.
That's a totally separate item. Any other discussion pertaining to Mr. Von Ken's motion to limit intake of any item from public at 12 o'clock hour? Mr.
Let me add this, I think it may have helped, like with the presentation of plaques, if maybe we had, it actually said what the plaques may be, you know, like where you received the one from Brother Wolf, the Confederate, because I didn't know about that myself, you know, I wasn't aware of it.
Last month, we told everyone that Brother Wolf would be here. Presentation of plaques have been left general. We made it clear that they would be here to make the presentation. We had late breaking news, actually, right in the middle with the press release.
I remember that, but you know, that's a month ago. There's
Okay.
a lot goes through my head.
Well, we can work on the agenda, but this is a totally different item. Okay? Any more discussion? Seeing none, if you're in favor of limiting this type of information, then respond by aye. Those opposed, nay. Madam Clerk, proceed with the vote. Mr. Lyons, please confirm. Motion failed. Sorry, Mr. Von Cannon. Now, other commissioner comments. Mr. Jenkins? Mr. Hill, go ahead.
Yeah, okay, so it's all about, I was asked to sit on the board, I've been appointed to the board of the Shepherd's Inn. It's the only battered women's shelter in Carter County. Last year, budget allocated $12,000 to pay the mortgage for the shelter for the year, matching the city's $12,000 in funding for the shelter for the first time, and that was very much the right thing. The first meeting I attended, it came to my attention that they do not have that $12,000 yet. They have not had the use of that $12,000. Hold on. And we're in the 11th hour of the budget cycle. Okay, so the hitch is that we require an audit. Apparently, the Carter County Commission requires an audit from nonprofits requesting grants and funding from the county. There is, on down in that TCA statute of 59-109, down under C3 that Mr. Harden has provided me with, that basically says that in lieu of an audit, and I'll come to a point here in a second, but in lieu of an audit, an organization, the county can accept an organization's 990 form and basically the tax forms and a letter from the CFO in lieu of that audit. There is House Bill 0081, Senate Bill 0144 that is coming through the legislature right now, as introduced, permits a nonprofit organization desiring financial assistance from a county or municipality to file in lieu of completing and filing an annual audit, an annual report of receipts and expenditures in a form prescribed by the comptroller of the Treasury, requires such report to be prepared and certified by the nonprofit CFO, subjects such report to audit by the Department of Audit. The only problem I have with this, I would like to urge us to find some workaround to accommodate Shepherd's Inn, because the best quote they could find on that audit that we are requiring of them to get our $12,000 donation was going to cost that organization $7,000. So we're asking them to chuck up $7,000 that would normally be allocated toward medicine, groceries, heat, that kind of thing for the shelter, for to be able to accept $12,000 in the way of our donation.
Mr. Hill?
Yes, sir.
If I may, sir, I wasn't in that meeting, I was in Nashville, but I did spend quite a bit of time listening to the audio, and the committee did take action on that, the proper action to refer it back to financial management. So the committee, at least those members that were present that night, have taken it under consideration, advanced it back to the proper committee, and I'm certain that Mr. Lyons will be working with that at the next meeting. Mr. Lyons, is there anything you need to?
I'll just kind of validate what you just said. I do plan to take it back to Financial Management Committee. I think bylaws and rules, bylaws and policies. They reviewed the concern. Mr. Martin was there as well. He offered his input along with myself. I did present it, Mr. Hill.
Thank you.
It was a recommendation of the bylaws and rules, the bylaws and policy, to take it back to financial management. The reason they said financial management is, all of you probably recall this, is that we put two very stringent rules in place on outside agencies that were applying for money. And this was something that happened about a year and a half ago. And that was they had to have the last financials and the last audit. And I talked with Mr. Hill about this, as he well knows. And I'm very compassionate and empathetic toward Shepherd's Inn. I think they have a great vision in terms of what they're doing. It's not about them. But we will take it back to Financial Management Committee. But within the audio that you referred to, Mayor, and Mr. Jenkins and several other members of this commission can help me with this if I need to. But within those minutes and that recommendation, it was clear that Mr. Hardin had an interpretation on the 2015 law that he was reading, but he also stated in that meeting, and this is something for Financial Management Committee, which will be discussed, that that law did exist. His interpretation was that yes, that law existed, but financial management could stick with and impose a more restrictive guidelines if we felt the need to do so. And just referring back to last year and a half when we put those in place, we did have a situation. We did have a situation that we were trying to get into control. So we're taking it back, Mr. Hill, we're taking it back to financial management. We'll be on the agenda based on the recommendation of the bylaws and policy.
So it's being addressed, Mr. Hill.
Thanks to everybody involved. I just wanted to advocate on behalf of them. You know, it's their annual operating budget's in the neighborhood of $150,000 to $170,000, and so it is. I mean, we basically are asking them to spend $7,000 and receive a net benefit of only $5,000. I just really respectfully, I'd like you guys to consider them, give them every consideration on this matter. Thank you for the time.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Garland.
Save the date, April 23rd, I believe that's right, on a Saturday. There's a cleanup of the Tweetsie Trail. And I think it's going to run from, they can get Lions Field run all the way to in the city. It's supposed to be kind of a celebration at the end of that. I would encourage the commissioners that are able, would like to come out and participate in that. Be good day to get some exercise and be helping out, clean up the trail, and a good way for everybody to work together a little bit. So I'm just encouraging everybody to attend that if possible. And it does coincide with Valentine's Day.
It's the 22nd.
Or the 22nd, it'll be the Saturday. And one more. Vicki, 4-H is doing fundraising for a grant, is that right? And they need $2,000. They're setting up some ideas for fundraising. So if you see any opportunity to help them, go by and check them out, or give in any way you can.
Thank you. Any other commissioners? Mr. Tester.
I'd like to suggest all this stuff going on with you and these people at the dog pound, maybe you already have, but you not, you try to reach out to new people at early this hatchet because you've obviously upset some people. And in your position, if it's possible, I don't know what's going on, so I'm speaking to something I want about it. Would you please try to reach out? I'm just asking, try to work this thing out with these people that are upset, that will keep coming to these meetings till we do something.
Well, Mr. Tester, if I may, they can keep coming to the meetings. They have every right to speak in public comments. The problem is, we have to maintain a decorum here, and we cannot allow the type of behavior that we've seen tonight from Commissioner or from citizen. We just can't. We won't. And as far as reaching out, we have been very transparent in everything that we've done. When you look at the budget, ma'am, I'm sorry, no interruptions, thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you. We have given you, the commissioners, the facts. We've reached out to each of you and asked you if you've had questions. All you have to do is pick up the phone, you schedule an appointment, or you come by my office. We are very transparent. We'll give you every detail about everything that we're doing. And again, we did not reach out to ask Brother Wolf to come in here. They're the experts. You know, that was one of the things that we have to do. We have to develop relations, and we're doing that at record speed. We did that to develop a relationship so that Miss Robin McCamey and the other volunteers that have been shut out of the shelter for various reasons at this point in time, to give them opportunities to serve the community. So, Mr. Tester, we are doing everything that we can in this office right now to take care of those people's needs. Unfortunately, when they come before this commission and give us this type of information, all they're doing is igniting you. And if you folks were really wanting to vet this information, you would come and schedule an appointment with the mayor. Mayor, is this right or is it wrong? At no point in time have I ever had either of you, other than Mr. McQueen, a few others, to come in and sit down. Mayor, is this right or is it wrong? Not one, but you guys also like to encourage this
I
time.
rise to an objection. This is the time for commissioner comments.
Mr. Meehan, the mayor was asked a question.
No, he was asked, please reach out to these people.
And sir, I was letting the commission know that we've done everything that we can do to satisfy this situation, to give these people the opportunity they want to serve this community. Now, they can either come in here and help us. Mr. Meehan, listen. They can either come in here and work with us to make this the best facility that Ms. Robinson, Ms. Posada, and her staff are doing, or they can go and spread this garbage throughout the community to do everything they can tear it down. That's the bottom line. Any other commissioner comments?
I would like to just, if I could.
Yes, sir.
I know everyone's wanting to go home, right? People left work in the morning, right? Right, Ross? 5:30 in the morning. Just to clear my conscience, okay? So I can sleep tonight. I want to read something. When you get up there in that chair, it makes a big difference. I want to read this. Please listen to me. Points of order. If any member, speaking or otherwise, transgresses the rules of the board, the chairman shall, or any member may, call said member to order. In which the case the member so called, in order, shall immediately sit down. When the point of order has been decided by the chairman, the member having the floor can proceed, subject to the decision made. I'm trying to learn the process. I tried to follow the point of order that Mr. Meehan made. I allowed the mayor to speak, or I would allow anyone else to speak. Please bear with me, because it looks like I'm going to be up there every month. Please do me a favor. And if you can't do that, pray for me now when you go to bed.
Any other commissioner comments? I have a motion made by Mr. Lewis to adjourn, second by Mr. Miller. All those in favor? Any opposed?